Uranus, which is the planet of innovation, rebellion, and revolution, is retrograde. If Uranus Direct allows us to experience breakthroughs in a very forward-moving motion, then consider Uranus in retrograde a system upgrade. It's our mental software, which is downloading new upgrades so that when Uranus re-enters Gemini in April of next year, we will be ready to use these upgrades to truly improve our lives, similar to how a computer runs a little bit more smoothly once you complete an upgrade. Uranus as a planet shakes things up to break you free from outdated patterns, sometimes from external circumstances, but with retrograde, it's internal. And for the past while, as Uranus has been moving through Gemini, you may have experienced a surge of new ideas, shifts in how you communicate, or surprising information coming to light. And as Uranus comes in retrograde, the mental insights will continue to flow in your mind, but they may actually become clearer as the mental clock may feel a bit slower with this retrograde motion. And now as Uranus begins its retrograde journey, you're being asked to pause and process these mental or informational changes. Retrogrades are not about moving backwards, but they're about internalizing and integrating what you've learned, and it's a time to reflect on what info is valuable versus what can be dumped in the trash and thrown away forever. How can these new insights be grounded in a way that truly serves me? This period will unfold in 3 distinct stages, each bringing a different flavor to this process of review. With Uranus re-entering Taurus, any instability in your world that was glossed over may now demand your attention. This is kind of your last chance to truly revolutionize your approach to stability and value before Uranus leaves Taurus behind for essentially the rest of our lives, unless there's some weird technology that allows us to live until the next Uranus in Taurus, and that would be crazy, but we're not going to go there today, okay? And so with that being said, here is your Uranus retrograde 2025 astrology forecast. Whoosh! And in this video, I will be providing a forecast for you based on your rising sign to let you know what areas of your life may experience these revelations. Then we will go into the forecast based on your natal Uranus placement, as any transit that I talk about, in this case I'm talking about Uranus in retrograde, will naturally relate to the natal version of that placement. And so by understanding your natal Uranus placement, it'll give a little bit more flavor into how these revolutions may play out for you for this transit. But I will also provide a forecast for you based on your natal Mercury placement for the period of the retrograde that Uranus is in Gemini, as Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. But I will also provide a forecast for you based on your natal Venus, which rules Taurus, to cover the period that Uranus is retrograde in Taurus. And as a little bit of a bonus, because I love to treat my viewers, I will provide actionable tips and tricks for when Uranus goes direct in Taurus, just so you are ready to establish security in a way that makes you ready for when Uranus re-enters Gemini in April of next year. And if you like detailed forecast videos like this one or detailed astrological tutorials, please give this video a like and a subscribe, and please comment what you're looking the most forward to within this transit. It lets the algorithm know that this video is your jam. You'll keep getting it suggested on your feed, and you'll also let me know that I'm doing my job right. And so first, in this video, we will go over the actual 3 stages of this Uranus transit in detail, don't worry, so that you will know what to expect with the overall energy before going into the detailed forecasts. And then we will get into the forecast based on your individual natal placements, just to personalize it a little bit. And these forecasts, in case you didn't know, can be found in the description below. And so now that we have that established, let's get ready and let's get into this forecast in 3, 2, 1, go. Here, I will be going over what you can expect during this Uranus transit. I will be breaking it down into 3 phases, outlining what energy you can expect until Uranus re-enters Gemini in late April of next year. It's like your personal operating system is getting a major update. From this September all the way into early 2026, you're getting this incredible opportunity to download new ideas, test them against your real life, and then roll them out in a grounded way that works for you. Starting with stage 1, this stage kicks off on September 6th as Uranus starts its retrograde in the sign of Gemini. The most important thing to know is that when Uranus, which is the planet of breakthroughs, is retrograde, the energy turns inward. The aha moments don't happen to you from the outside world. They happen deep inside of your own head. The simplest way to imagine this energy is to think of your brain's personal Wi-Fi suddenly getting a massive signal boost. You're downloading new ways of thinking, but this could slow things down in a way that needs to be embraced, or you could trip on your own thoughts. Uranus and Gemini in general will bring a lot of thoughts and sudden breakthroughs, but in retrograde, it's going to become a lot more personal. This can show up in very simple but universal ways. For example, you might have been struggling with a cluttered room for months, and then one morning, you suddenly see the perfect, simple way to rearrange everything for better flow. Or you might have a breakthrough in a relationship where you suddenly understand a friend's point of view on a deep, fundamental level, even though you've had the same conversation a dozen times. It's not new information, but a new connection. But a word of warning for this phase is that the biggest mistake you can make is acting too soon on these brilliant ideas because Uranus is in retrograde. It's all about processing it, and you could trip on your feet if you act too soon. These insights are raw data. It's not a finished plan, and so acting impulsively will not only lead to scattered energy, but it could lead to you dismissing ideas, saying that they're not going to be effective. And so another mistake is dismissing these ideas. The ideas may seem too weird or impractical for you, so you just throw them away. And Uranus wants you to think outside the box. So shutting down those thoughts is missing the whole point. The real opportunity here is to become an idea collector, to get ready for the next stage. The best trick is to create sort of like this idea little collection. It could be a dedicated notebook or folder of voice memos where every insight that you deem important will go. And so this honors the thought without creating pressure to act. Stay curious at this time. Read something new and make space for your mind to wander. That's when the best downloads for improving your life can happen. And then moving on to stage 2, on November 8th, you're going to feel a real shift in energy because Uranus will be moving back into Taurus, and this is where we enter the pressure test. Taurus is all about the real tangible world. It's your money, your security, the things that keep you safe and secure. This is the phase where all of those brilliant ideas that you downloaded now have to meet the messy reality of your real life. It's where your new software gets checked against your existing hardware to see if it's compatible. Continuing with the examples, maybe you had a brilliant idea to rearrange your room, kind of like I talked about earlier, but now you realize it would require you buying a new shelf and spending money that you hadn't budgeted for. That flash of insight about your relationship, maybe now it requires you to have a vulnerable and potentially awkward conversation to actually change the dynamic. That's the pressure test. It's the friction between the exciting new vision you develop and the comfortable, stable reality that you're living in. The warning here is twofold. The first mistake is to give up on your idea the second you feel that friction. But you're being encouraged to not abandon your breakthrough just because it's uncomfortable. The opposite mistake is just as risky as well, getting so anxious about the friction that you blow up your stability, like making a huge impulsive purchase you can't afford just to feel like you're doing something in life. But the opportunity in this stage is to refine your values and find out what's truly important, and you can find out how to adjust your environment, your sense of security to sort of meet your new vision. Or the opposite, you could adjust your new vision to meet the security needs that you have in your reality. The friction is just information. It's showing you exactly what part of your life needs an update. The best tip is to not make any sudden movements, but instead stay grounded. Go for a walk, cook a meal, and use this time to figure out which ideas have real sustainable value before you move on to the final stage, and sort of like plan ideas on how you can execute this, because this will be needed when you enter stage 3. Because on February 4th of 2026, we have Uranus stationing direct again. This is where all of your internal work will start to pay off. This is stage 3, which is the action plan. After all that processing and pressure testing, you've probably gained a ton of clarity and ideas. And so that energy will now turn outward again. It's time to reboot your system and go live. You'll likely feel a sense of purpose and readiness that wasn't there before. Following our examples, maybe the person with the room idea doesn't max out a credit card. Maybe they take a small practical first step. Maybe they declutter the room and sell an old piece of furniture to fund the new shelf. The person who had that relationship insight, maybe they don't force one big dramatic talk. Maybe they start by gently bringing up their new perspective in a low stakes conversation, opening the door for that new dynamic to grow steadily, because this will help you to implement these new ideas that you have in a way that is very gradual, that doesn't question your security, and that can actually be built on a strong foundation. But the warning for this final phase is trying to do everything at once, because if you try to execute your entire grand vision in one weekend, you may get overwhelmed. Another pitfall is maybe you'll get stuck in analysis paralysis, where you keep planning and refining, but you never take that crucial first step. And so this is a warning that you have to look out for as well. And the biggest opportunity here is to build your new reality on solid foundation. The most powerful trick is to break your big vision down into the smallest possible first step, and then to do the one thing that's going to make everything happen. Ground your revolution in reality. Take one tangible, practical action. That is how you successfully install your internal upgrade into your daily life and begin to build a future that is truly aligned with your new awareness, so that when Uranus enters back into Gemini, now your processing system is ready to get those new sudden insights and downloads that will further support what you come up with, especially in stage 1 and before stage 1. And it's when you're able to openly embrace these new ideas that you may figure out what steps you need to take to truly improve your life. Now, if you want to see my overall Uranus and Gemini transit forecast, I do have it linked in the card, and this will kind of help you to understand what to expect during the whole 7-year period or so when Uranus is in Gemini, because you'll see that this has always been a time for mental realizations and downloads. It's just that this retrograde period is more about, processing that information, whereas when it goes direct, it's about executing with that information. And so now that we've gone over all 3 stages, please go down to the timestamps below, look at all of your personal placements to figure out how this energy may look for you. If you are an Aries rising, for you, this story is about revolutionizing your mind to build the material life that you want, as Gemini rules your 3rd house of communication and Taurus rules your 2nd house of resources and values. The first stage for you is the mental flash. You are a prime candidate for a massive light bulb moment. You may receive a sudden electrifying insight that changes how you think. This could be a groundbreaking idea for a podcast, a book, or a new communication style within your job. You also might realize that a limiting belief that you've held about your own intelligence is completely false. This could feel like your brain is buzzing with electricity. It's exciting, but also a bit jarring, because these ideas may not connect to your practical life at this time. Now, your Aries instinct, though, will be to act immediately, but you need to resist, as your job here is to be a curious reporter. Record your ideas without judgment, mind map them. Capture the raw data first, because the action plan will come much later. The second stage is the value conflict, because in November, Uranus slides back into your 2nd house. So that brilliant new idea could make your current financial situation look like a nice cushy cage that is somehow holding you back. The security of your current situation may suddenly feel stagnant. This is a crisis of value. Is the safety of your current life worth more than the potential of your new ideas? This can feel deeply uncomfortable. It's a tug of war between the thrill of freedom and the fear of losing tangible security. You might feel anxiety about money and frustrated that your ideas don't have an immediate payoff. Instead of making rash financial decisions at this time, use your initiating spirit to research. Create a mock budget for this new life and ask yourself, what is the real value of my skills? Strategize instead of fighting your circumstances. And then the third stage brings the tangible revolution, because finally in February of 2026, the internal debate will settle. You're ready to take a calculated risk to innovate your financial life. You might launch that podcast as a side hustle or enroll in that course to build a new skill. You are ready to tangibly change how you make your money, and this will feel liberating. The tension will release, replaced by clarity and purpose. Taking that first step will feel empowering as you begin to build a new foundation of security on your own terms. Now is the time for that first bold move. Launch that first episode or register that business name, because your strength is initiation, so use this energy to break ground. So for you, Aries rising, this period is a 3-step process. First, you capture a revolutionary new idea. Second, you test that idea against your personal values and your finances. And then third, you take on one bold pioneering step to build a new foundation of security based on that brilliant insight you received. For my Taurus risings, this transit is incredibly personal for you. It's about revolutionizing your resources to revolutionize your identity, because Gemini rules your second house of values and Taurus rules your first house of self. And so the first stage of this transit is the resource revelation. You may be struck with a genius idea about your money, skills, or possessions. This could be a sudden insight into a new income stream, kind of like starting a creative business or getting into a new business venture, or the realization that your existing talent can be marketed in a totally new, different way. This will feel intellectually exciting, but personally destabilizing. You're used to the tangible, and these ideas will feel abstract. You might feel a strange detachment from your own bank account, seeing it as pure data. Your tip is to allow these ideas to be theoretical for now, but don't dismiss something because you can't see the 5-step plan. Create a spreadsheet and play with the numbers of a new income idea, and brainstorm all the ways that your talents could be monetized no matter how wild they are. The second stage of this transit is the identity crisis. And so those new ideas about your value will create deep internal pressure on your very sense of self. And so to become a successful online creator, for example, you can't remain the stable, predictable employee. You may feel a powerful rebellion against your own image, your habits, and how the world sees you. Who you are is now in direct conflict with who you realize you could be. This can feel like an internal earthquake. You might feel stubborn, resisting the very changes that you are contemplating. It's a deep personal struggle between your past self and your future potential. Your body is your barometer, though, so ground yourself. Spend time in nature. You can cook, get a massage. These sensory activities give your nervous system the stability it needs to endure this personal upgrade. And then the third stage is the personal rebranding. Come February, you're ready to embody this change. You'll start making tangible shifts in your personal identity. And so this could look like changing your hairstyle, updating your professional bio, or simply introducing yourself differently. You are physically stepping into a new version of yourself. You could improve your confidence as well. And this will feel like a deep sense of release and renewal, because with each step, you'll feel more authentic and empowered, building a new identity from the ground up. And so your tip is to start with one tangible physical change that represents the new you. You can buy the outfit for the job you want, or get the new business card printed, or make the change physically, which will solidify your internal decision. And so for you Taurus risings, this journey is about receiving a radical new idea about your value, enduring the identity crisis that follows, and finally taking the first concrete step to physically embodying the new authentic version of yourself that these ideas demand. For my Gemini risings, for you, the revolution starts with your identity and then goes into the deepest parts of your psyche, because Gemini is in your first house and Taurus is in your 12th house of the subconscious. And so the first stage is the identity shock. You are the revolution. You may experience a sudden and shocking realization about who you are. It can feel like a mask that you've been wearing your whole life has suddenly dropped. You might realize that your ambitions aren't your own, or perhaps like a hidden part of your personality, either the inventor or the artist, whatever it may be, demands to be seen. This might feel a little bit disorienting and electrifying. You might feel like a stranger to yourself. If I'm not who I thought I was, then who am I? It can be so confusing, but also liberating. As a Gemini rising, you're adaptable, so use this to your advantage. Treat this as an information gathering mission about yourself. Journal furiously, talk to trusted friends. Your goal is to explore this new internal landscape with curiosity curiosity, not to immediately define it. And then the second stage of this transit is the subconscious rebellion, because your newfound sense of self now illuminates all the hidden ways that you've been sabotaging your own life. It will clash with deep-seated subconscious fears and inherited beliefs. That inner critic might get louder, or you could have vivid dreams, revealing anxieties that you didn't even know you had. It's an internal rebellion against your own hidden programming, and so this may feel vague and confusing and emotionally heavy. You might feel a free-floating anxiety or a stubborn resistance without knowing where it comes from. It can feel like you're fighting a ghost, and so your instinct is to rationalize, but the 12th house is nonverbal. And so the trick here is to connect with your subconscious through other means. Pay attention to your dreams, try meditation, or listen to music and think about, why does this song resonate with me? It might be telling you something. And then the third stage of the transit is the spiritual liberation. So by February, you'll be ready to take tangible action to release those hidden fears. This is the moment you decide to start therapy or commit a meditation practice or consciously forgive someone to release an old burden. The achievement here is internal. It's the tangible act of letting go. This will feel like a weight has been lifted. It's a quiet, deep sense of peace and closure that clears the way for a new identity to fully emerge in 2026. Your tip is to make an intangible idea more tangible. Write a letter and then burn it or rip it, throw it in the trash, do whatever you have to do. But also try to create a physical release ritual. Schedule your first therapy appointment, because taking concrete action signals to your subconscious that this chapter is truly over. And so for you, Gemini rising, this transit is about a shocking awakening to your true identity, which then forces you to confront and clear out the subconscious baggage that has been holding you back, leaving you spiritually free and ready for a new beginning. For my Cancer risings, your journey is one that starts in the mystical depths and brings you into a new social reality, because Gemini is in your 12th house of the subconscious and Taurus is in your 11th house of community and future hopes. The first stage of this transit is the subconscious download. You may receive sudden insights that seem to come from another realm, whether through dreams, meditation, or wild synchronicities, or maybe a hidden talent that you never knew you had could be revealed, or the true underlying reason for a chronic pattern in your life may become crystal clear. This will feel mystical, subtle, and a little bit strange. The insights will feel very deep, but they could be a little bit hard to articulate. There could be a sense of solitude as you've received a secret that no one else can understand just yet, and so your instinct is to protect your inner world. You need to honor that and keep these fragile insights to yourself for now. You can start a dream journal and spend time near water if you need, and let these ideas marinate in your intuitive inner world without needing external validation, because the second stage of this transit is the social conflict, and so your private spiritual breakthroughs now creates friction with your social life or place within society in some way. You might feel suddenly that your friend group or your social network is too superficial, or that a long-term goal that you have is no longer aligned with your new inner truth, or that old causes that you once fought for are no longer resonant with you in some way. There could be a powerful internal rebellion against the groups you belong to, as they may feel emotionally hollow now. And this can feel super alienating, I get it, and you might feel like you no longer fit in with your own life. It's a conflict between where you've found belonging in the past and where your soul is now telling you to go. But before making any drastic social changes, do some emotional recon and try to introduce a deeper topic of conversation with your current circle to see how they react. See if your old dreams and place in society can fit in with this new dream that you've developed. And notice who makes you feel like you have to hide your true self, because the third stage brings the authentic alliance. Because come February, you are ready to take tangible steps to find your true tribe. This could mean joining a new group that aligns with your spiritual insights, whether it's a meditation circle, volunteer organization, or launching a community project or social media brand based on your vision. This will feel hopeful, exciting, and grounding. There's a deep sense of relief in connecting with like-minded people. It feels like finally coming home because your strength is in creating belonging. So take one concrete step to build your new community. You can attend one meeting of a new group or make a new post if you have to, because your action solidifies your commitment to a future that nourishes your soul. And so for you, Cancer rising, this period is about receiving a deep private insight for your subconscious, and then feeling the resulting friction with your old social life, and then finally taking tangible action to find or build that new community that reflects the authentic awakened you. For my Leo risings, your transit is all about receiving a grand vision for the future and then figuring out how to square it with your public current life. Gemini rules your 11th house of community and Taurus is in your 10th house of career. The first stage is the visionary idea. You may be struck by a revolutionary vision for the future, either for yourself or for society at large. Maybe a brilliant idea for a new technology or a social enterprise or a community project could download right into your brain. You might suddenly see how a network of people could come together to create something amazing. This will feel electrifying and exciting, but also a little bit impersonal. The ideas may feel bigger than yourself, focused on the collective rather than just your own ego. And so your instinct is to be the star of the show, but with this transit, try being the director instead. Focus on the vision itself and map out the network and its mission. The second stage of this transit is the career crisis. Your grand future-oriented vision now creates intense pressure on your current career and public reputation. Maybe your job title could feel suddenly restrictive and meaningless compared to the impact you want to make. I relate to this. I'm a Leo rising. You could feel like a powerful internal rebellion happens against the stable, respectable career path that you've built. This will feel like a deep internal friction. It's a clash between your ambition for status and your desire for innovation. You may feel stuck and frustrated with a growing dread of going to work. I already kind of relate to this. Hopefully my boss doesn't see this. I don't think they will though. But your reputation is important to you, and I agree with this. My reputation is important to me. So instead of suddenly quitting, explore how you can build a bridge. Can you take on that special project at work that aligns with your vision? Test its viability before you burn everything down. And then the third stage of this transit is the professional pivot. You are now ready to make a tangible public move to revolutionize your career. This could mean officially launching your new social enterprise, pitching your innovative project to your superiors, or to create a new role for yourself, or even to leave your corporate job to become a consultant in some way. This may feel bold and liberating, but also a little bit scary because you are stepping onto a new public stage, but it also feels deeply authentic and empowering. Your tip is to make a public declaration. Maybe update your LinkedIn profile, your TikTok, your YouTube, whatever you have. Announce your new project. Taking a visible, concrete action signals to the world and yourself that this change is real. And so lead with your heart and your new vision. And so for you, Leo rising, this period is about receiving a humanitarian or technological vision, wrestling with how it conflicts with your current career status, and finally making a bold professional pivot to align your public life with your new innovative purpose. For my Virgo risings, this journey for you is about a revolution in your career that leads to a revolution for your entire belief system. Gemini rules your 10th house of career, and Taurus rules your 9th house of philosophy and worldview. The first stage of the transit is the career revelation. You may receive a sudden brilliant insight about your career path. A completely new and unconventional profession might suddenly seem like your true calling. You could see a way to innovate within your current field that no one has thought of before. This will feel mentally stimulating and clarifying, but also a little bit detached. The idea for this new career might feel like a logical solution to a problem rather than a passionate calling, especially at first, because your strength is in the details and analysis. And so it's time to use it. Research this new career path you want to take. Gather all the practical information you can, treating it like a fascinating puzzle to be solved. But then the second stage of this transit is the belief system conflict. Your new career idea now clashes with your long-held beliefs about what constitutes as a good and valid life. The idea of becoming a YouTuber, for example, might conflict with your belief that a university degree is the only path to wisdom. You are experiencing an internal rebellion against your own worldview. This may feel like a philosophical crisis. You could feel deeply unsettled and question everything you thought you knew. And so instead of getting stuck in a mental loop, seek out new information that challenges your existing beliefs. Read books, listen to podcasts, or watch documentaries by people who have successfully walked the path that you are contemplating. And then the third stage of this transit brings the worldview expansion. You are now ready to take a tangible step to expand your horizons and build a new philosophy. This could mean enrolling in a course or a certification program that supports your career path. This could mean booking a trip to a foreign country to gain a new perspective. This will feel hopeful and expansive to you because you are actively investing in your own growth during this phase. The achievement here is the act of learning itself. And so enroll in that class, buy that plane ticket, or make a tangible commitment to your education, no matter how that looks. By taking a practical step to broaden your understanding, you are building the philosophical foundation necessary for your future career revolution. And so for you, Virgo rising, this transit is about a brilliant, unconventional career idea, challenging your entire philosophy on life, leading you to take a concrete step toward expanding your mind and embracing a new worldview that can hold your future. For my Libra risings, your journey is a deeply intellectual and psychological one. It begins with a revolution in your worldview that forces a revolution within your most intimate corners of your life, because Gemini rules your 9th house of belief and Taurus rules your 8th house of shared resources and psychological entanglements. The first stage of this transit is the paradigm shift, so your entire worldview could be revolutionized in an instant. Maybe you'll stumble upon a book or conversation that completely shatters your existing beliefs about the world, or maybe a sudden interest in an abstract field, sort of like astrology, quantum physics, or a foreign culture could emerge. This will feel exhilarating and mentally expansive, and your mind will feel wide open, as if you've been freed from a mental prison that you didn't even know you were in. Your nature seeks to understand different perspectives, and so lean into this. Dive deep into the subject that has captured your mind, because the second stage is the intimacy crisis. So your radical new worldview now creates a deep internal pressure on the most intimate corners of your life, whether it's shared finances, your psychological dynamics with yourself or others, or your relationship with debt, or it could be an entanglement that just goes so deep that you don't even know what it is yet. So maybe that pit in your stomach has a source that relates to how you give energy away unknowingly. Maybe your newfound spiritual belief from stage 1 might clash with other sources in your life, whether it's people you share resources with or psychological causes that take your energy. You may feel a rebellion against any financial or emotional entanglement that is based on your old, outdated belief system. This will feel deeply intense, private, and unsettling. It's a conflict between your new expansive truth and the messy, complicated reality of your shared life. Your instinct naturally is to keep the peace, but the 8th house requires radical honesty, first with yourself, and so investigate and understand the cause of any distress before acting. This is a private audit of your deepest contracts. And then moving on to the third stage, this is the psychological liberation, because you are now ready to take tangible action to revolutionize your shared resources, whether financial or energetic. This could mean having the talk with people you share resources with, or paying off a significant debt like credit card debt to reclaim your freedom, or starting a therapy practice to deal with those deep-seated psychological patterns. This will feel like coming up for air after being underwater. It is so liberating and empowering, and so by facing the dragon in the cave, you reclaim a huge amount of your own power. So take one decisive, tangible step to change that dynamic. Schedule the appointment with the financial advisor or the therapist, and have the calm, courageous conversations, whether with yourself or someone else. And so for you, Libra rising, this journey is about a paradigm-shifting idea that revolutionizes your beliefs, which then forces you to confront and transform the deep financial and psychological contracts within your closest relationships, leading to immense personal liberation. For my Scorpio risings, this transit is your territory. This transit is about a deep, penetrating insight that forces you to revolutionize the very structure of your relationships. Gemini is in your 8th house of psychology or shared resources, while Taurus is in your 7th house of partnerships. The first stage begins with the X-ray of insight, if that makes sense. And so you may receive a sudden penetrating insight into a complex or taboo subject in your life. You could instantly understand the hidden psychological motivations of a business partner, or see the truth behind a complex financial agreement, or you could have a breakthrough in your own therapeutic or shadow work. This is an X-ray vision that cuts through surface level appearances to the core truth. This will feel intense, clarifying, and powerful. You may feel like you've been given a secret key that unlocks a mystery, and so your instinct is to hold your cards close to your chest. Honor that at this time. This insight is for you first. Sit with this powerful new information and understand all its implications before you act. The second stage is the relationship pressure test. So your deep X-ray insight now puts immense pressure on your one-on-one partnerships or your idea of one-on-one partnerships. And so, for example, knowing the truth about your partner's financial fears makes the current dynamic of your relationship feel a little bit unstable, or perhaps knowing what you have to invest in relationships kind of makes you feel destabilized with the idea of a relationship. And you will feel a powerful internal rebellion against the established, stable structure of how you handle relationships. This will feel like a silent, high-stakes negotiation is happening within you. You may feel a deep sense of friction and resentment within a relationship that appears perfectly fine on the surface, and your instinct can be to go all or nothing within relationships. And so the trick here is to observe. Watch how your partner behaves, or watch how your idea of partnership evolves. See how the truth you now hold plays out in your daily interactions. And then the third stage delivers the new contract. You are now ready to take tangible action to revolutionize your partnerships or idea of them. This means bringing the hidden truth into the open. It could be a direct conversation with a spouse about negotiating your financial life and what that looks like, or maybe a formal meeting with your business partner to restructure your agreement, or a decision to leave a partnership that's fundamentally imbalanced, or a decision to pursue different types of relationships than you ever have, or the decision to just stay single. And this will feel immensely liberating and authentic. The tension that has been building is finally released, and the key is to be direct, honest, and focused on creating a new, more stable structure. This isn't about winning a fight, it's about co-creating a better agreement. And so for you, Scorpio rising, this transit is about receiving a powerful hidden truth, feeling the immense pressure it puts on your key partnerships, and finally taking action to renegotiate the very contract of your relationships to be based on this newfound honesty. Sagittarius rising, this journey is about a revolution in your relationships that demands a revolution in your daily life, because Gemini rules your 7th house of partnerships and Taurus rules the 6th house of work and routines. And so the first stage of this transit is the partnership revelation. You may experience a sudden breakthrough in your understanding of relationships. Maybe a partner could surprise you with a radical proposal, either literal or just like not a marriage proposal, but another type of proposal. So don't get too excited or don't get too scared. But you also might meet someone new who completely shatters your ideas about what you're looking for. Or you may have a sudden intellectual realization that you need more freedom, communication, and mental stimulation within partnerships. This will feel exciting, stimulating, and perhaps a little bit detached. You may view your relationships through a more objective intellectual lens at this time. Your love of freedom is being activated, and the best way to use this energy is to engage in dialogue. Talk to your partner, whether platonic or romantic, about these new ideas and explore these new paradigms with curiosity, or explore these paradigms by yourself whenever you're pursuing relationships if you're single. And then the second stage of this transit is the routine rebellion. The new exciting ideas about your relationships will clash with the reality of your daily life. Maybe the desire for a more spontaneous partnership conflicts with your rigid 9-to-5 work schedule. You'll feel an internal rebellion against the drudgery of your current lifestyle, which now feels like an obstacle to the relationships you want to build. This may feel restless, inefficient, and frustrating. You may feel your daily grind is holding you back. And so before you throw your entire schedule out the window, experiment with small changes. Try waking up an hour earlier. Automate a tedious task at work, and prove to yourself that your daily reality can be changed. And then moving on to the third stage of this transit, this brings the lifestyle upgrade. You are now ready to make tangible, lasting changes to your work and health routines in some way. This could mean formally adopting a more flexible work schedule, or implementing a new innovative system to manage your tasks, or starting a new health regimen that gives you more energy. You are tangibly revolutionizing your day-to-day life. This may feel productive, efficient, and liberating. This could bring like a deep satisfaction in creating a lifestyle that truly works for you. But the key is to implement one significant tangible change to your routine. Have the official conversation with your boss about flexible hours, or solidify one part of your new improved daily life at this time. And so for you Sagittarius risings, this period is about revolutionary insights regarding your partnerships, feeling the frustration as it conflicts with your daily grind, and finally taking concrete action to upgrade your lifestyle and routines to support the freedom and connection you now crave. For my Capricorn risings, your journey is a practical one that leads to a deep result. A revolution in your work life creates a space for revolution in your joy, because Gemini rules your 6th house of work and health, while Taurus rules your 5th house of creativity and pleasure. The first stage of this transit is the efficiency breakthrough. You may be struck by a genius idea for improving your health or your routines or your daily health or your habits. You could discover a new technology that automates the most tedious parts of your job, or maybe a sudden insight into a health issue could reveal a new unconventional approach to wellness. This will feel mentally brilliant, logical, and practical. You will likely feel a sense of satisfaction in finding a life hack that solves a persistent problem. And your instinct is to build systems, so channel this. Document any ideas you get, create a flowchart for the new workflow, and research the protocol. Architect the plan on paper first, remember this. And then moving on to the second stage, this is the joy rebellion. So your brilliant idea for creating more efficiency and free time now creates an unexpected internal pressure. What will you do with the freedom? The prospect of more leisure time highlights the potential lack of genuine joy or creativity in your life. You may feel a powerful internal rebellion against your own all work, no play mentality. This may feel a little bit awkward, unfamiliar, or even a bit empty. You may feel a deep resistance to simply having fun, as it might not feel productive. And so your challenge is to treat joy as a serious project. Schedule it, research hobbies, and approach this with the same dedication you would a work project. Because during the third stage, this is the creative commitment. You are now ready to make a tangible commitment to creativity and joy in some way. You use the free time you created in stage 1 to actually sign up for that art class, buy that guitar you've always wanted, or dedicate one night a week to a romantic pursuit, or you can finally channel your passions into your work somehow. You are tangibly building a space for pleasure in your life. This could feel deeply fulfilling and surprisingly grounding. It feels like you are finally nourishing a part of yourself that has been starved. And the key is to make a tangible investment within your joy. Go buy the supplies, pay for the class, dedicate it into like a social media project that you can do. Do what resonates. And because by putting a real resource towards your pleasure, you are signaling to yourself that it is a valid and valuable part of your new, more balanced life structure. And so for you Capricorn risings, this transit is about a genius insight that makes your life more efficient, which then forces you to confront a lack of joy in some way, leading to finally taking a tangible, structured step to build pleasure and creativity into your life in a way that works for you. Aquarius risings, this is a powerful transit for you, touching on themes of authentic expression and emotional security. The journey begins with a creative revolution that demands a revolution at your very foundations, because Gemini rules your 5th house of creativity and Taurus rules your 4th house of home and family. And so the first stage is the creative spark. Maybe a bolt of creative lightning could strike you at this time. You could get a brilliant, unconventional idea for a novel or a piece of art or a new hobby or a tech startup. Maybe your perspective on romance could be revolutionized, opening you up to new possibilities. This will feel exciting, playful, and absolutely liberating. You may feel a powerful urge to create something that is uniquely you. The ideas will feel fresh, original, and perhaps a little bit quirky. And so your task is to play with this creative spark without needing it to have purpose yet. Let yourself experiment, because the goal is pure, unattached expression. Because during the second stage, we will be facing foundational friction. And so your brilliant, liberating idea for self-expression now creates internal pressure on your most private foundations, whether it's your home, your family, and your sense of emotional security. Maybe your desire to pursue a risky creative project clashes with your need for a stable home life, or maybe you fear pursuing this project because of rejection you faced in your young life that now bleeds into your day-to-day life today. Maybe your family's traditional values may be in direct opposition to your radical new form of self-expression, and this will feel deeply unsettling and emotionally charged no matter how it presents. You may feel like your need for freedom is at war with your need for safety, and your tendency can be to detach from messy emotions. The challenge here is to feel them. Find ways to create a sense of safety for yourself while you process this internal shift, because both safety and expression can exist at once, and this is what you're here to learn. Because the third stage is the home revolution. You are now ready to take tangible action to change your home and emotional foundations to support your new creative self. This could mean physically moving into a home that better reflects your identity, or maybe creating a dedicated section in your home or a studio space that lets you sort of act out these passions, or maybe you have a courageous conversation with your family or yourself about your need to express yourself, and it actually lands. This will feel grounding, stabilizing, and deeply empowering, because by channeling your physical environment to match your internal state, you create a secure base for which you can launch your creative endeavors. Take one concrete action to claim your space. This could be as small as buying a desk for your project, or as large as signing a lease. Take what resonates, because for you Aquarius risings, this period is about a bolt of creative genius that challenges your sense of security, leading you to take concrete steps to revolutionize your living situation and emotional foundation to support your most authentic self that is being born. And for my Pisces risings, your journey begins in the deep roots of your emotional past and moves into your daily thoughts and your words and your communications, because Gemini rules your fourth house of home and foundations, and Taurus rules your third house of mindset and communication. The first stage of this transit is the emotional realization. You may have a sudden and shocking realization about either your family, your past, or your emotional foundations. Maybe an old family secret could come to life. You might instantly understand the root of a lifelong emotional pattern, or you could have a brilliant unconventional idea for your living situation, like wanting to become a digital nomad, for example. This will feel deeply personal, intuitive, and potentially destabilizing, no matter what form it takes. The insight will be more of an emotional knowing than an intellectual idea, because your strength is your intuition. Trust what is coming through. This is a time for private reflection, so journal about the feelings and memories that are surfacing so that you can let these ideas develop in your mind. Because the second stage is the mindset conflict. Your deep emotional breakthrough now creates internal pressure on your daily mindset. Maybe the realization that you've been carrying an inherited emotional pattern makes you hyper aware of your own negative self-talk. Maybe the desire to break free from your past clashes with your habitual ways of thinking and speaking. You will feel a powerful internal rebellion against your own mind in some way, and this may feel a little bit mentally frustrating and repetitive. You might notice yourself saying things that you no longer believe, creating a jarring sense of internal dissonance. Like maybe you're working on your confidence, but you notice your internal dialogue doesn't line up with that. That's just one example. And so the trick is to bring your awareness into the tangible. Notice your thoughts without judgment, because the act of observing and naming them robs them of their power. And then moving on to the third stage, this brings the communication upgrade. You are now ready to take tangible action to change your mindset and the way you communicate, whether to others or yourself. This could mean starting a daily affirmation or meditation practice that actually works for you. You'll probably experiment with this in stage 2, but it'll all come together in stage 3. Or maybe you'll enroll in a course on nonviolent communication. Not that you're extreme. This only relates to some people. Or maybe you take public speaking classes to finally know how to vocalize yourself. Or maybe you finally have a direct, honest conversation with someone you're close to that changes the dynamic of that relationship, because you are actively building new neural pathways in your mind. This will feel clear, empowering, and grounding. It feels like you are finally taking control of your own narrative. But the key is consistency. Choose one new mental practice and commit to it. Write down one affirmation and put it on your mirror so you can see it every day, because this tangible action is the creation of a new deliberate mental habit. Because for you Pisces risings, this transit is about a sudden emotional realization about your past, which then creates an internal battle with your old thought patterns, leading you to take tangible daily action to upgrade your mindset and change the way you speak to yourself and others. If you have natal Uranus in the first house, then you are a walking catalyst for change. Your rebellion is personal, direct, and often expressed through your body or your appearance or your independent actions. You innovate by being unapologetically yourself, often shocking others with sudden changes in your identity or path. Your insights come in flashes of powerful self-awareness that demand immediate expression.
You don't just have a revolutionary idea, you become the idea. And so during stage 1 of the transit, this transit's new ideas will feel intensely personal to you, like a direct download into your identity. You will not just think of ideas, you will feel a compelling urge to embody it instantly. For example, let's say the transit is activating your 10th house of career, for example. You might not just get an idea for a new career, you might suddenly shave your head or change your wardrobe to match that new professional identity before you even have a plan. Take what resonates with that logic to whatever house Uranus is transiting. And so a powerful trick for you during this stage is to channel this impulse into a temporary form. So before you make a drastic physical change, for example, or a personality one, try a new style with a temporary hair color or clothes from a thrift store instead of blowing your budget on it, for example. And this allows you to test drive your new identity, whatever that looks like, without permanent consequences. But then going on next to stage 2, the internal pressure will be immense because your rebellion is so closely tied to your sense of self. The conflict will feel like a fight for your very existence. You could feel a stubborn refusal to conform to any part of your life that does not align with the new insights that you receive. The pressure is about ensuring that your physical reality and security can actually support the radical individual you are becoming. And so to navigate this, use physical activity as an outlet, whether it's high-intensity workouts or competitive sports. This may be a healthy channel for the rebellious energy, preventing you from making impulsive decisions out of sheer frustration. And then finally, in step 3 of the transit, your action will become bold. It will be an initiating move that declares your independence. It could be a tangible act of personal liberation. This could look like launching your own business, not just a project, or moving to a new city on your own, not just planning a trip. It's the moment that your external reality finally catches up to the internal revolution that you've been embodying. And when you are ready to make your move, the best way to succeed is to anchor your revolution with a single thread of stability. And so before you launch the business, secure one foundational client, or before you move, at least have a little bit of savings. And so for you, this transit is a process of embodying a radical new insight about yourself, weathering the intense pressure as your reality resists this change, and then ultimately taking the bold, independent action that solidifies your new identity in the world. If you have natal Uranus in the 2nd house, your natural style of innovation is aimed at systems of value and security. Your rebellion is against outdated financial structures and conventional wealth. You innovate by finding unconventional ways to build resources, whether through technology, unusual skills, or a radical detachment from materialism in the first place. Your insights are often flashes of material genius or sudden realizations of what is truly valuable. You disrupt the status quo by changing the rules of ownership. And so during stage 1 of the transit, the ideas you receive will likely have a financial or material component to them. You will instantly see a new resource model for whatever you do. So for example, if the transit activates your 7th house of partnership, your insight will not just be about a new relationship dynamic, but about a revolutionary new way to structure the finances that you have with that partnership. And so to engage with this energy safely, create a theoretical budget or a play investment portfolio for your new ideas, whatever that looks like. This allows you to explore the financial genius of the insight or the material genius without risking your actual resources yet. Because during stage 2 or the pressure test, the internal pressure will manifest as a crisis of security. Your innovative ideas will challenge your existing financial or material foundations. You could feel a stubborn resistance to any plan that feels unstable, even if the idea is brilliant. And so this conflict is between your radical new vision of value and your deep innate need for tangible real-world security. And so to stay grounded when feeling financial anxiety, focus on your 5 senses. Cook a meal or spend time in nature, because this reconnects you to a sense of abundance that is not tied to your bank account, which eases the pressure a little bit. And then moving on to stage 3 of the transit, your action will be a concrete financial or material move that improves your worth in some way, hopefully. This could be opening a cryptocurrency wallet, for example, or buying a key piece of equipment for a new venture, or even radically overhauling your budget to free up resources. It is the tangible investment that makes your revolution real. And since your nature can be risk averse, the key is to take one small calculated financial risk. Make an investment that is big enough to feel real, but small enough that it won't destabilize you if it fails. And so for you, this transit is about receiving brilliant financial or material insights, navigating navigating the intense security anxieties as it challenges your stability, and finally making a single tangible investment that revolutionizes your resource base and aligns your material world with your new values. If you have natal Uranus in the third house, you are a revolutionary thinker and communicator. Your rebellion is against outdated information or dogma and linear ways of thinking. You innovate through your words, your ideas, and your unique perspective. And your insights come as sudden, brilliant connections between disparate concepts, and you have a gift for communicating these complex ideas in a shocking or novel way. And so during stage 1 of the transit, this transit's new ideas will arrive as a flurry of information. Your mind will be electric, connecting dots and seeing patterns that nobody else sees. You will feel an overwhelming urge to talk about it, write about it, or learn about these new concepts immediately. For example, if your 5th house of creativity is activated by the Uranus transit, you won't just get a creative idea, you will instantly deconstruct its symbolic meaning and outline the entire book about it, for example. So to manage this influx, use voice memos or mind mapping software. Look it up if you don't know what that is, to capture your ideas. Your mind will move faster than your hands, and so find a method that allows for nonlinear and rapid documentation, because in stage 2 of this transit, the internal pressure will feel like mental overload or writer's block in some way. So your revolutionary ideas will challenge the very structure of your daily thoughts. You will feel stubborn intellectual resistance or need to find a logical framework for your radical insights. This conflict is between the chaotic genius of the downloads that you received and the need to make it make sense. And when you feel mentally stuck, the best trick is to change your environment. Go to a library or a coffee shop or a park instead to do your work, because a new setting can break a mental loop and help you find the structure that you're looking for. And then finally, in stage 3 of the transit, your action will be an act of communication in some way. This could be launching a blog or starting a podcast or publishing an article or having a crucial paradigm shifting conversation. It is the moment that you release your revolutionary ideas into the world through language. And so before you share it widely, a great tip is to do a soft launch by sharing the idea with one person you trust first, because this helps you practice articulating your complex thoughts and builds your confidence for a wider audience. And so for you, this transit is about capturing a flood of revolutionary information, wrestling with the mental pressure to structure your genius insights, and then finally taking the liberating step of communicating your groundbreaking ideas to the world. With natal Uranus in the 4th house, your rebellion is a little bit more private and aimed at your roots, whether it's through your family or your emotional foundations. And so you innovate by creating unconventional home environments or by breaking free from ancestral patterns. Your insights are sudden, deeply felt emotional realizations that reframe your entire past, that hopefully reframes your future. And your revolution is about liberating yourself from your conditioning to create a new definition of home or roots or whatever resonates with you. And so during stage 1 of this transit, the transit's ideas will feel like a sudden emotional truth bomb that just slaps you in the face, if that makes sense. It will be a deeply personal insight about your past or your core emotional needs. For instance, if the transit activates your 10th house, for example, your insight might not be about a new job, but a sudden realization that your entire career path has been in attempts to sort of impress your family or win approval from a parent. Obviously, this will apply to the house that Uranus is transiting, so whatever house Gemini is in. So take that logic and apply it to your house. And so a vital tip for this stage is to create a private journal for these insights. These are tender realizations that need a safe space to land before they are exposed to the outside world. Because in stage 2, the internal pressure will be intense and deeply emotional. Maybe your revolutionary insights will challenge your very sense of safety and belonging. You may feel a stubborn resistance to changing your home life or confronting family as it threatens your foundational security. The conflict is between your desire for emotional freedom and your primal need for a safe nest. And when feeling emotionally overwhelmed during this stage, a powerful trick is to create a safety ritual. This could be lighting a candle, wrapping yourself up in a specific blanket, or listening to calming music. And so this act will reaffirm your physical safety while you navigate emotional upheaval. Because in stage 3 of this transit, your action will be a tangible radical change to either your home or your family dynamic. This could look like moving or renovating your space to better reflect you, or having a courageous conversation with a family member that breaks a generational pattern, or even just breaking it on your own. You don't have to have the conversation. It is the act of building a physical foundation for your emotional liberation. And so to empower yourself for this, a great tip is to start with one small change to your living space. Before you decide to move, for example, try rearranging your furniture or painting a single wall. This small act of control can build the confidence needed for bigger changes, whether it's a material change or an emotional one. So take what resonates with that. And so for you, this transit is about a deep emotional realization that reframes your past, navigating the deep internal resistance to change your foundations, and finally take tangible actions to revolutionize your inner world that will liberate yourself from your past and help you break free from patterns that once held you back. If you have natal Uranus in the 5th house, you are a creative revolutionary. Your rebellion is against conformity in self-expression, romance, or joy. You innovate through your unique creative works, your unconventional love affairs, and your unapologetic pursuit of pleasure, no matter how that looks for you. Your insights are bolts of creative lightning or sudden liberating perspectives on love. Take what resonates with that as well. And because you are here to shock the world with your authenticity, no matter what it is that you do. And so during stage 1 of this transit's ideas will arrive as a powerful creative or romantic urge that you get. So pay attention for that. You will be struck with a brilliant or quirky or highly original idea for a project, or you may feel a sudden electric attraction to someone completely outside your usual type. And so, for example, let's say the transit is activating your 6th house of work and routines. Your insight might be a way to gamify your daily work or your job to make it more fun. Take what resonates with whatever house that Gemini is in your chart, obviously. And so a useful trick here is to dedicate a play space for your ideas, whether it's a sketchbook or a software program where you can experiment freely without any pressure for the outcome to be a finished project. Because during stage 2 of this transit, that internal pressure will manifest as a crisis of confidence or a sense of imposter syndrome. Your radical creative idea could challenge your sense of being good enough. You could feel a stubborn fear of being seen or judged for your unique expression. This conflict is between the brilliant, authentic idea and your fear that you are doing too much for the world to handle. And so a helpful tip when this surfaces is to find an audience of one. Share your risky creative idea with a single trusted friend whose opinion you value, because their encouragement can give you the courage to overcome your own fear of judgment. Because in stage 3 of this transit, your action will be the debut of your creative work or a bold romantic gesture, no matter how that looks for you, or it could be you finding your own joy even. This could look like launching that project or sharing your art publicly or taking a chance on an unconventional love. It's the moment where you risk vulnerability to let your authentic self be seen. And so the best trick to make this happen is to create your own launch. Do not wait for permission or discovery. Post your work on your own social media or host a small show for friends or publish it yourself. Take control of your debut, and no matter how joy looks for you, embrace it no matter who is looking. And so for you, this transit is about receiving a shocking bolt of creative or romantic genius and then wrestling with the intense fear of being judged for your authenticity, and then finally taking the courageous step to share your unique self-expression with the world. If you have natal Uranus in the 6th house, you are a revolutionary of systems and service. Your rebellion is against inefficiency, your mindless routine, and orthodox approaches to health and work. You innovate by inventing new life hacks, discovering alternative wellness protocols, or redesigning workflows. Take what resonates with that, because your insights are flashes of genius that reveal a better, faster, or healthier way of doing things, especially if you tap into it. You are here to upgrade your daily life, because during stage 1 of the transit's ideas could present as practical solutions to complex problems in your life. You may suddenly see a flaw in a system and instantly know how to fix it. This could be a new software implementation at work, or a new diet that solves a chronic health issue, or a new daily schedule that frees up hours of your time. And the best way to handle this insight, no matter what it is to document your solution in detail. Create a flowchart or a step-by-step guide or a presentation, or do a voice memo. Do anything to put it down in a tangible form, if that makes sense, because your gift is in the details of the system, even if you don't think it is. So capturing them will help you bring that genius to life eventually, because in stage 2 of the transit, the internal pressure could manifest as intense frustration with the old way. Maybe your brilliant, efficient ideas could clash with existing imperfect systems. Maybe you feel a stubborn resistance from colleagues or even from your own established habits. Maybe there's a habit you can't kick. And this conflict is between your perfect, innovative system and the messy, inefficient reality of the real world, no matter what it is. And so a great trick to navigate this is to run a beta test. Implement your new system for yourself or a small trusted group first, because this allows you to work out the kinks and gather data to prove its effectiveness before you face resistance from a wider audience. Because in stage 3, your action will be the implementation of your new system. It could be with yourself or it could be on a grand scale. This is formally proposing the new workflow to your boss or committing your health regimen for 30 days. Or maybe you finally purchase that software that will automate something in your life. It's the tangible act of upgrading your daily reality. And when you do this, a key tip is to focus on the tangible benefits. Do not just explain the idea, lead with the results, such as this will save us 10 hours a week, or this could improve your accuracy by 50%, and then go into your explanation. No matter what it is, or even if it's with yourself, focus on the results before focusing on, the first step. And so for you, this transit is about receiving a genius insight that can fix a broken system, and then navigating the intense frustration as reality resists the upgrade, and then finally taking the practical liberating step of implementing your new and improved methods. If you have natal Uranus in the 7th house, you are a revolutionary within your one-on-one partnerships or relationships. Your rebellion is against traditional partnership structures and traditional social contracts. You innovate by creating relationships based on freedom or equality or intellectual connection, and your insights are sudden realizations about the true nature of the people around you, or a flash of understanding about what you truly need from other people, or maybe you just learn so many great things through your communications with other people, and that can reflect back onto you, because during stage 1 of this transit's new ideas will likely come through another person or be about your current partnerships. You could have a shocking conversation that changes everything, or you could meet someone who embodies a completely new way of relating that really resonates with you. For example, let's say your 2nd house of finances is activated by the Uranus and Gemini transit. You and your partner might suddenly get a brilliant idea for a joint business venture that could bring you a little bit more money. That's just one example. Take whatever resonates with whatever house Gemini is in your chart. And so a helpful tip here is to journal about the ideas from the perspective of we instead of I. And so explore how these new concepts would impact you and others to integrate the relational nature of that insight. Because in stage 2, or the pressure test, the internal pressure will be a conflict between your desire for freedom and your desire for commitment. Maybe your revolutionary ideas about partnership will challenge your existing agreements and sense of security, or you could feel a stubborn resistance to upsetting the balance in a key relationship. And so the best trick for this stage, no matter what it is to write down your ideal outcome before having big disruptive conversations, and write down what your outcome is when you connect with people, even if you don't really have close connections at this time. What new agreements, though, could you put in place to make both parties feel free and respected in whatever one-on-one partnership you have? Go into any conversations you have, even if it's with yourself, with solutions when it comes to how you relate, not just confronting the problem. And then moving on to stage 3, your action will be the renegotiation of a relationship or your idea of relationships. This is having that explicit conversation to change the rules, or proposing a new type of contract. You could make or break a commitment, or you could even make a commitment with yourself to only commit to certain types of people. Whew, that was a tongue twister. Anyway, you will be making a tangible act of some way to revolutionize how you connect with others. And so a powerful tip at this time is to make a sort of trial period in whatever revolution you are trying to implement. And so let's say instead of making a permanent change to a connection, maybe suggest trying out the new relationship dynamic for a set period, like 1 month, or to go after a certain type of person if you're trying to commit to dating, but just for 1 month, or to to connect with people a certain way only for 1 month. Take what resonates, because this lowers the stakes and makes the change feel less threatening, because for you, this transit is about a shocking realization that redefines what partnership means for you. Navigating the internal conflict between freedom and stability within your relationships, and then ultimately taking the courageous step to renegotiate your most important contracts to reflect a new, more authentic truth. If you have natal Uranus in the 8th house, you are a revolutionary of the hidden and taboo. Your rebellion is against superficiality, shared illusions, or corrupt power structures, so you innovate by exposing hidden truths and diving into complex psychological or financial or esoteric systems. And your insights are deeply penetrating, sudden, and often reveal what everyone else is afraid to see. At the end of the day, you're a truth teller with this placement, because during stage 1 of this transit, the new ideas that you may receive could be deep. They could be X-ray-like insights into complex situations. You may suddenly realize and understand the hidden motive behind a business deal, or the root of a deep psychological pattern, or the energetic truth of an intimate encounter. So for example, let's say your 9th house of belief is activated by the Uranus transit. You might have a sudden insight that pierces a religious or political dogma, revealing its hidden power structure and why you believe things in that way. Take whatever resonates with whatever house Gemini is in your chart, obviously. And so the most important tip for this stage is to keep your insights private at first. This is potent and powerful information, and you need time to understand its full implications before you share it. And so going into stage 2, the internal pressure will be the burden of knowing a difficult truth. Your penetrating insight could create friction with the comfortable illusions of your shared life. You could feel a stubborn resistance from others who are not ready to face what you see. This conflict is between your radical honesty and the complex entanglements of your life, or maybe even you have fear trying to implement these changes. And so to handle this, a crucial trick is to find a confidential outlet. Maybe share your discovery with a trusted therapist, an advisor, or a mentor, or you can make an online Reddit profile that's a little bit anonymous and share it on there. Take what resonates, because you can share your idea without causing unnecessary destruction. Because going into stage 3, your action will be the act of revealing or resolving whatever it is that you've uncovered. This could be exposing a hidden truth, maybe pulling your money out of a corrupt system, or committing to a deep therapeutic work to transform a psychological inheritance that you want to get rid of. It's the tangible act of bringing truth to light. And so your best strategy is to be strategic, not explosive. Instead of a dramatic confrontation, choose a precise action that changes the power dynamic, like quietly moving your assets or presenting irrefutable evidence in whatever you're trying to pursue. Because for you, this transit is about receiving a powerful hidden truth, shouldering the immense pressure that comes with that knowledge, and then finally taking a strategic and liberating action to transform a corrupt or unhealthy dynamic from the inside out. If you have natal Uranus in the 9th house, you are a revolutionary philosopher. Your rebellion is against dogma or limited beliefs and cultural consensus. You innovate by exploring foreign ideas or higher education and expansive belief systems. Your insights are paradigm-shifting flashes of genius that completely reframe your understanding of reality. You are here to awaken yourself and others to a bigger truth, because during stage 1, this transit's new ideas will feel like a complete paradigm shift. You might stumble upon a book or a new field of study or a foreign culture that completely shatters your worldview. The insight will feel like you have discovered a key that unlocks the entire universe. And so the best tip for you is to follow the thread of your curiosity relentlessly. Do not just read one article, read the whole book. Do not just watch one video, watch the entire lecture series and immerse yourself in the new subject, whatever it may be. Because in stage 2, or the pressure test, the internal pressure will be a crisis of faith. Your radical new worldview will challenge the practical realities and beliefs of your everyday life. You might feel a stubborn resistance from your own mind, which will try to find logical flaws in your expansive new vision. This conflict is between your boundless new philosophy philosophy and the limitations of your current reality, no matter how that looks. And so a great trick for you to get you through this is to try to teach your new philosophy to someone. The act of trying to explain your expansive ideas will force you to ground them in a more structured way. Because going into stage 3, or the liberating action, your action will be to make a commitment to the expansion of your mind. This could be enrolling in a university program, or buying a plane ticket for a long distance journey, or publishing your new philosophy in some way. It's the tangible act of dedicating yourself to a new, bigger truth. And the most effective tip here is to make your liberating action an investment in your own education. Whether it's time, money, or energy that you're investing, the key is to make a tangible commitment to the continued expansion of your worldview. Because for you, this transit is about shocking insights that shatter your worldview, and then navigating the internal crisis as you struggle to ground this new philosophy, and then finally taking a tangible step to commit to a path of higher learning or exploration, no matter what it is that you're doing. If you have natal Uranus in the 10th house, you are a professional revolutionary in some way. Your rebellion is against corporate tradition or outdated career paths and conventional definitions of success. You innovate through your career, often bringing technology or social change or a touch of genius to your public role, or you might have unorthodox career paths or trajectories, and your insights are sudden realizations about your true calling or a brilliant unconventional strategy for your field. And I know some people with this placement, they have ups and downs in their career. It's because it's very hard to find a career that almost meets your sort of, revolutionary vision. And so during stage 1, this transit's new ideas will be about your career and your public life in some way. Maybe you'll have a sudden insight that your current job is not your true calling, or you may be struck with a brilliant, innovative idea that could revolutionize your entire industry, or you could go towards a new industry. For example, let's say your 11th house of community is activated by this transit. Let's say Gemini's in your 11th house. You might get a sudden idea for a tech startup that serves a social cause. Take that logic and apply it to whatever house Gemini falls in your chart. And so a helpful trick here is to write a new mission statement for whatever path you want to take based on the insights you are receiving, because this helps you to clarify the purpose behind the innovative ideas you're receiving. And then moving on to stage 2 of the transit, the internal pressure could be a crisis of reputation. Maybe your career idea or the idea that you want to pursue when it comes to your endeavors will challenge your existing professional identity or path and the secure path that you have built. You could feel a stubborn fear of public failure or of being seen as unstable. And this conflict is between your authentic, innovative calling and your attachment to your current respectable status or your current path in some way. And so the best tip for this phase is to find a mentor who has successfully navigated an unconventional career path, or even the path that you're trying to go on. Their experience can provide a blueprint and reassure you that taking a professional risk is possible and you can make it out on the other side completely okay. And then in stage 3 of this transit, your action could be a bold public career move or a bold move towards an ambitious goal that you have. This could be launching the new company you want to launch, or taking that unconventional project that could define your legacy and actually trying to make something out of it. Or maybe you publicly pivot your career in a completely new direction. It is the moment that you tangibly align your public role with your unique genius, and this can help you find more success if that's something you've been struggling with. And so an effective trick for this is to start your revolution as a special project. Reframe your bold new venture as a side project or a limited time initiative, because this allows you to build momentum and prove its viability without immediately risking your entire established career or your entire established path. For you, this transit is about receiving a revolutionary insight about your true vocation, and then wrestling with the fear of your public reputation, and then ultimately making it a bold, tangible move that aligns your professional life or your ambitions with your genius. If you have natal Uranus in the 11th house, you are a social and humanitarian revolutionary in some way. Your rebellion is against social conformity or outdated community structures and anything that infringes on the freedom of the collective. You innovate by building networks or championing social causes and introducing futuristic ideas to your groups. Your insights could be flashes of genius about the future and how humanity can evolve. And so during stage 1 of this transit's new ideas will be about community, technology, and future trends. Take what resonates with that, because you may have a sudden insight for a new social network or a community project or a solution to a large-scale social problem. Your ideas will feel impersonal, focused on the good of the group, rather than your own personal gain in some way. And so a great tip for you is to think like a futurist. Instead of just having the idea, write down 3 trends that support why your idea is the way of the future, because this helps you build a logical case for whatever vision it is that you have. Because going on to stage 2, the internal pressure will be a conflict between your radical vision and the reality of your current social circle or your current dreams. You may feel like your friends, for example, do not understand your ideas, or you might feel a stubborn resistance from a group that is resistant to change, or you may have problems figuring out what area or group to put yourself in to make your ideas happen. And this conflict is between your ideal vision for the collective and the messy reality of human relationships. And so to overcome this, a powerful trick is to find your first follower. The key is to start a movement, and this means finding one other person who truly believes in your vision. And you can find that person because your vision, there's probably something to it. And so focus on finding that one ally before trying to convince an entire group. Because in stage 3, your action will be to launch a group or a network, whatever idea you came up with in the first 2 stages. This could be creating the online forum or organizing the first meeting in a group or launching that social media campaign for your cause. It is the tangible act of building the future that you envision for the collective. And so the best tip for you is to use technology to build this network or to build this dream out. Your power is in connecting people and ideas, and modern tools allow you to do this on a larger scale. That's just the truth. And your liberating action should have a digital component to it, because this will really help it have reach. And for you, this transit is about receiving a futuristic vision for the collective and then navigating the social friction that comes with being ahead of your time, and then finally taking the tangible step of building the network or community that will carry your idea forward. And if you have natal Uranus in the 12th house, you are a spiritual revolutionary. Your rebellion is against the limitations of the material world or the tyranny of the ego and the collective spiritual slumber. Take what resonates with that, and you're innovative through your connection to the subconscious or your artistic work or your selfless service. You may be a little bit psychic. Your insights could come from dreams or meditation and flashes of mystical understanding, and you are a channel for the unexpected, which can be a hard burden to carry, but it is a gift that you're truly meant to use to change the world. And so during stage 1, this transit's new ideas will feel like they come from another dimension almost. They could arrive in dreams or synchronicities or moments of quiet contemplation where you just receive that aha moment. The insights may be symbolic or artistic or deeply spiritual in some way. For example, let's say your 3rd house of communication is activated by the transit, or you have Gemini in your 3rd house. You could receive an idea for a book of poetry that channels collective feelings. So take that logic and apply it to whatever house Gemini is in your chart, because that's where you'll receive the insight. And so a key tip for you is to keep a dream journal or a symbolic diary. Your insights will be non-linear. They could even be hard to put into words. So you need a way to capture them that's not purely logical, but that gets the point across so that you know what it means at the very least. Because moving on to stage 2, the internal pressure will be the challenge of grounding your mystical insights into a tangible reality. You may feel that your deep experiences are impossible to explain, or that the material world is a harsh, stubborn obstacle to your vision, and they're not receiving it well, and this can frustrate you or challenge your security in some way. The conflict is between the boundless nature of your insight and the finite nature of the real world. And so the best trick here is to find a creative outlet. Translate that feeling into a painting or a song or a story, whatever resonates with you, because this could help you to process the energy without needing validation. Because going to stage 3 of this transit, your action will be an act of creative or spiritual surrender, and it'll be beautiful if you use this energy correctly. This could be committing to a daily meditation practice, or starting that surreal art project that came to you in a dream, or dedicating time to a selfless cause, or dedicating yourself to whatever insight that you have and putting yourself fully into it. It's the tangible act of creating a space for the mystical in your material life. And so the most helpful tip to remember is that your liberating action should be a practice. It's not a single achievement. It is just a core part of your essence. And the goal is to create a consistent, tangible channel for your spiritual insights to flow into the world. Commit to the process at this time, not the outcome, and that's how you can best use this energy. Because for you, this transit is about channeling a mystical or artistic insight from the collective unconscious, wrestling with the difficult challenge of grounding that vision into the material world, and then finally committing to a practice that serves as a vessel for that spiritual energy you received. With Natal Mercury in Aries, your mental mechanic is that of a spear. It's fast, sharp, and direct. You process information by immediately moving towards a conclusion or action. And so during this retrograde, you may experience a disruption to this linear process. Instead of one clear path forward, you may be presented with multiple equally valid options at once, which can feel frustratingly slow. So your upgrade here is about turning your spear into a multi-tool, learning to value the evaluation phase before taking action. You might see this play out if you're a project manager, for example, who usually makes instant decisions, and you suddenly find yourself pausing in a meeting to ask for more data. Another example is if you typically send blunt, immediate text responses and you find yourself rewriting a message multiple times to consider different angles. You might even start a project with your usual bursts of energy only to stop and completely rethink your entire approach halfway through. And so to work with this energy, you can embrace the pause. When you feel the urge to speak or act instantly, consciously take one breath before you do, because this creates a small gap for the new thought to enter. Additionally, you can try arguing the opposite side of an issue for something low stakes. Genuinely try to defend the opposite of your initial instinct, because this will help you to build the mental muscle for holding multiple perspectives. Now, if your Mercury's in Taurus, your mind is like building with stone. It's methodical, grounded, and focused on creating something solid and lasting. You trust what is tangible and proven. This transit introduces ideas that may feel like vapor almost. It's untested, abstract, and seemingly impractical. And so your mental upgrade involves learning that some of the most valuable structures are built with innovative and at first intangible blueprints. For example, you might find a financial planner who relies on traditional investment strategies, and you could suddenly become fascinated with a highly speculative tech stock. Or maybe you're a chef, for example, who uses time-honored family recipes, and you could feel a sudden urge to experiment with an avant-garde cooking technique. You might even find yourself questioning a long-held practical belief, like the idea that you must work a 9-to-5 to be secure. And so a great way to manage this is to schedule your idea time. So dedicate 15 minutes a day to brainstorming without any goal of practicality. Also, try to connect new ideas to your values. When a radical idea appears, instead of dismissing it, ask yourself, how could this potentially support my long-term security or comfort? This helps bridge the gap between the abstract and the tangible for you. If your natal Mercury is in Gemini, your mental mechanic is a network hub. It's constantly receiving and transmitting data from multiple sources. This transit is a direct review of your own operating system. You may find the sheer volume of new information overwhelming, or realize that your network has become an echo chamber. And so your upgrade is about curating your network. It's about shifting from being a collector of all information to a conscious architect of meaningful knowledge. You might be a journalist, for example, who covers a wide range of topics, and you could suddenly decide to specialize in one highly complex field. Or if you're very active on social media, for example, you might abruptly deactivate your accounts, feeling an urge for deeper, more focused learning. You might even realize that while you know a little about everything, you now want to achieve mastery in one specific skill. And so a powerful practice for you is information fasting. So deliberately unplug from news feeds and social media for a set period each day. It's also helpful to engage in long form content instead of short form content. So pick up a dense book or watch a detailed documentary on a single subject to train your mind for depth that this transit is encouraging. If your natal Mercury is in Cancer, your mental mechanic is like a tide pool. Your thoughts are deeply connected to the currents of your feelings, memories, and sense of safety. You process information through an intuitive, empathetic filter, and this transit introduces sharp, detached data that doesn't compute with your emotional logic. It may feel like a cold, analytical wind blowing over your sensitive inner landscape, and so your upgrade is about building a bridge between your heart and your mind, allowing you to articulate your deep feelings with clarity without invalidating them. You might be someone who has always made family decisions based on what feels right, and you could suddenly find yourself creating a detailed spreadsheet to analyze the pros and cons of something. Or if you usually avoid conflict, for example, you might find yourself calmly and logically explaining your emotional needs to another person or a partner. You could even have a sudden objective insight into a family pattern that you previously only felt intuitively. And so a helpful tip for you is to practice emotional labeling. So when you feel a strong emotion, try to describe it out loud with neutral, factual words. And so, for example, it could look like I am noticing a feeling of tightness in my chest, which I interpret as anxiety. It's also useful to tell your story to a new person. Explaining your personal history to someone outside of your inner circle can force you to communicate in a more objective way, leading to new insights about how you actually feel and what you're actually thinking. With natal Mercury in Leo, your mental mechanic is that of a stage performer. You think and communicate in a way that is expressive, creative, and radiates from a central sense of self. This transit could introduce collaborative or impersonal ideas that challenge your role as the sole creator. You may be asked to share the spotlight or accept feedback that feels detached from your personal vision. Your upgrade is learning to separate your brilliant ideas from your ego. For instance, if you're a creative director known for a singular vision, you might suddenly become fascinated with crowdsourcing ideas from your team. Or if you're a public speaker, for example, who relies on charisma, you might start incorporating more complex data into your presentations just to support it. Or you could even share a personal, heartfelt story and realize that the most impactful part for others was an objective detail that you considered secondary to the story. And so a great way to practice this is with yes and incorporate it in your conversations. Consciously build on the ideas of others instead of waiting for your turn, if that makes sense. So you can elaborate on people's points, and this will help you communicate your points better. You could also try writing things in third person. So journal about personal experiences from the outside observer's point of view to create an objective distance, and it'll help you to see things a lot more clearly. If your natal Mercury is in Virgo, your mind is a high precision instrument designed to analyze, categorize, and refine details into a state of perfection. And so this transit may introduce ideas that are chaotic, paradoxical, or seemingly useless, disrupting your need for order. And so your upgrade is learning that innovation often comes from the messy, imperfect stages of a process. You might be a programmer, for example, who prides yourself in clean, efficient code, and you could become obsessed with an experimental, messy coding language. Or as a health-conscious person who tracks every calorie, you might realize that your intuitive cravings are a form of data that you've been ignoring. You might even find yourself leaving a project intentionally unfinished to allow your new ideas to sort of marinate in your head, which would normally feel very uncomfortable. And so to work with this energy, you can start sort of like this junk drawer for ideas, whether it's creating a notebook where you can write down any idea that comes to you, no matter how strange, or a voice memo, and you just don't try to organize it. You just let it sit there. But also try to find the function in the abstract. When a seemingly useless piece of information appears, ask yourself, what is the underlying principle here? Because this helps you to use your analytical skills to engage with the unconventional. If you have natal Mercury in Libra, your mental mechanic is a finely tuned scale, constantly weighing different perspectives to find balance and harmony. And so this transit can feel jarring as it may introduce ideas that are polarizing and disruptive, defying any attempt at a middle ground. Your upgrade involves discovering a new form of integrity, which is the ability to hold a strong personal conviction without becoming an adversary. And so you might be a mediator who always seeks compromise, and you could realize that one side of the dispute is factually incorrect and must be challenged directly. Or if you always consult your partner on decisions, you might feel a sudden clear impulse to make a choice on your own. You could even find yourself speaking up about injustice, even if it disrupts the social harmony that you usually work so hard to maintain. And so a helpful tip is to identify your non-negotiables. Make a list of your core values that are not up for debate. And so another trick is to practice stating an opinion without a qualifier. Try saying, I think we should do X instead of this, or I think we should do this. What do you think? To get comfortable with being direct. If you have natal Mercury in Scorpio, your mental mechanic is like an iceberg. Much of your thought process happens beneath the surface and it's focused on deep investigation. And so this transit brings a flurry of surface level information that may seem superficial. And so your upgrade is about learning to communicate your deep insights with greater accessibility, realizing that you don't have to cloak your truth in mystery for it to have power. You might be a researcher, for example, who spends months on a deep investigation, and you could have a sudden insight that the core answer is surprisingly simple. Or you might be a therapist who develops a new short form communication technique to help your clients get to the core issue faster. You might even find yourself wanting to share a personal secret in a very casual, straightforward way, stripping it of its previous intensity. You can practice the explain it to a 5-year-old technique if that will help. So take a complex topic that you understand deeply and try to explain it in the simplest terms possible. It also helps to share information incrementally. And so instead of revealing a deep truth at once, experiment with sharing smaller pieces of information and then putting it all together. If your natal Mercury is in Sagittarius, your mental mechanic is like a telescope. It's always scanning the horizon for bigger ideas and grand philosophies. And so this transit can feel like switching to a microscope, flooding you with a torrent of seemingly disconnected ideas that challenge your broad conclusions. Your upgrade is about integrating these details into your worldview, adding nuance and evidence to your beliefs. You might be a philosophy professor, for example, who becomes fascinated with specific verifiable data from a scientific study that contradicts a classic theory. Or as a world traveler who speaks in grand statements about cultures, for example, you may start to notice and appreciate the small everyday details that tell a different story about whatever culture you're looking at. Or you might have a big idea for a business only to realize that the path of success lies in perfecting a dozen little tiny unglamorous details. And so a great practice is to focus on the footnotes. So when you're reading, intentionally go and read the sources. Also make an effort to test your beliefs. Take one of your core beliefs and actively seek out 3 specific factual pieces of evidence that will challenge it, because this will build intellectual flexibility for you. If your natal Mercury is in Capricorn, your mental mechanic is that of an architect. Your thoughts are structured, disciplined, and focused on building something tangible and enduring. And so this transit brings in ideas that seem experimental or inefficient or even frivolous. And so your upgrade is discovering that mental play and unstructured experimentation are not a waste of time, but are essential for long-term innovation. You might be a business manager, for example, who lives by the if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality, and you could suddenly propose a radical restructuring of your department's workflow. Or let's say you're an engineer, for example, focused on function. You might start experimenting with artistic aesthetic designs. You might even find yourself scheduling do nothing time in your calendar, recognizing it as a crucial part of your mental process, no matter what your career or your ambitions or your daily work schedule looks like. recognizing it as a crucial part of your mental process. And so try to work on a project with no goal. Engage in a hobby where the only purpose is the process itself. And also try to ask why not instead of why. When an unconventional idea pops up, your default may be to question its purpose. So practice flipping the script and opening the door to experimentation. If your natal Mercury is in Aquarius, your mental mechanic is like that of a satellite. It's orbiting high above to see the patterns in the systems that other people miss. And so for you, this transit asks you to review your own revolutions. You might realize a forward-thinking idea has become a rigid ideology. And so your upgrade is about ensuring your own mental frameworks remain open to disruption. You might be a social activist, for example, dedicated to one theory of change, and you could suddenly see the value in a completely different approach. Or let's say you're a tech developer, for example, who created a certain type of software. You might realize it's time to abandon your own creation for something new and more useful. You may even find yourself publicly changing your mind on an issue that you were once known for championing. And so a great tip for you is to seek out intelligent opposition. Actively listen to people who disagree with your most cherished ideas and practice killing your ideas off, if that makes sense. So take one of your favorite, most brilliant ideas and try to find its fatal flaw. Really go in there, because this practice of intellectual detachment ensures that you remain committed to progress. If your natal Mercury is in Pisces, your mental mechanic is like that of a sponge. It's absorbing information, feelings, and creative inspiration from the environment. This transit introduces sharp, factual, and highly logical information that can feel harsh or jarring to your fluid process. And so your upgrade is about developing a functional filter, allowing you to wring out the sponge and articulate your boundless imagination with true clarity. You might be a poet, for example, who writes from dreams, and you could suddenly decide to take a course on linguistics. Or if you're a spiritual person who relies on faith, you might find yourself researching the neuroscience behind meditation. You might have a powerful empathetic feeling and for the first time be able to track a specific logical source for that. And so a helpful practice is creative containment. So take one of your boundless creative ideas and try to express it with a very strict set of rules. And also try to ask, how do I know this when you get a strong intuitive hit, and gently ask yourself for the source, because this helps you build a bridge between your intuitive and logical minds. If your Mercury's in your first house, this mental revolution is intensely personal. It's all about your core identity and how you project yourself. You may experience sudden realizations about who you truly are. You might decide to completely change your personal style or even name better reflect a new way you see yourself. You could have a breakthrough about a self-limiting belief that has defined you for years, leading to a deep shift in confidence. You might also realize that the way that you introduce yourself no longer fits who you are becoming, prompting you to rethink your elevator pitch. And so a helpful tip is to practice new introductions. Experiment with different ways of describing yourself and what you do. It's also wise to journal about your identity. So dedicate time to writing down answers to the question, who am I now? Without judgment, because this helps you to consciously track the mental shifts that are happening. If you have your natal Mercury in the second house, your breakthroughs are focused on your values, your possessions, and your self-worth. You may have a revolutionary idea about your finances and what you consider genuinely valuable. You could stumble upon an innovative new side hustle that perfectly utilizes your communication skills. You might realize that your deep-seated belief about being broke are simply outdated mental programmings, and that leads you to a complete financial mindset shift. You might even decide to declutter your home in a radical way, letting go of possessions that no longer align with your evolving values. And so a practical way to work with this energy is to review your budget with an innovative eye. Look for unconventional ways to manage your money. It's also useful to verbally affirm your worth. Practice stating what you and your skills are and your worth is out loud, even if it feels uncomfortable at first, to rewire your old thought patterns into new and better ones. If your natal Mercury is in your third house, this upgrade is happening right in your immediate environment. And so your daily interactions, the way you communicate, and your learning styles are all up for review. You could have a sudden deep realization about your relationship with someone you're close to, leading to a conversation that fundamentally changes your dynamic. You could also discover a new, incredibly efficient way to learn a skill, like novel speed reading techniques. Or you might also find yourself communicating with your local community in a surprisingly direct and impactful way. And so a great way to engage with this energy is to start a new short form writing practice like a blog or a daily journal, but also make an effort to explore your neighborhood with fresh eyes. So walk or drive around your local environment to stimulate new neural pathways so that you can understand how your mind is simply starting to change. If you have natal Mercury in the 4th house, your focus is on your home or your family roots and your deepest sense of private security. Your mental breakthroughs may relate to your understanding of your past and what home truly means to you. You could have the sudden insight about how to rearrange your living space to better support your mental health, leading to a radical redecoration or even a move. Or you could realize an emotional pattern that you learned from childhood is no longer serving you and consciously decide to break it. You could also decide to research your ancestry with an unexpected sort of drive towards this. And so to work with this energy, you can talk with family members. You can engage in deep conversations about your ancestry that can trigger deep insights. And if you're not close to your family, you can also create a vision board with your ideal home, because this exercise can help you to articulate the new feelings that you have about safety and belonging and truly visualize what that will look like. With natal Mercury in the 5th house, this upgrade is happening for you in the realm of creative expression, your hobbies, or romance, and how you experience joy. So you may have a sudden breakthrough about new ways to play and express your unique talents. You could realize that the previous definition of romance that you had is outdated and begin seeking different kinds of connections that are more mentally stimulating. Or you could rediscover a childhood hobby and find that it brings unexpected levels of intellectual stimulation for you. Or let's say you're a parent, you could find new and creative ways to engage with your children that foster your own mental growth too. And so the best thing you can do is to schedule time for play with no goal and deliberately set aside time for playful activity with absolutely no objective in mind. It's also helpful to share your creative work, even if it's just with a trusted friend, to help solidify your ideas. With natal Mercury in the 6th house, your focus is sharply on your daily work, your routines, and your health. And so your breakthrough here is all about working smarter, not harder. You might have a sudden realization about a food sensitivity or a hidden stressor in your routine and completely change your diet or your work schedule. Or you could devise an incredibly innovative new system for organizing your tasks that dramatically increases your efficiency. You could also discover a new form of exercise that engages your mind as well as your body. And so a practical tip is to analyze your daily schedule. Track your time for a few days, then look for areas where you can innovate or streamline your routines. It's also a good time to research alternative health modalities. Open your mind to different ways of thinking about wellness to find breakthroughs in how you can care for your body and mind. With natal Mercury in the 7th house, this transit is all about your one-on-one relationships, both romantic and professional and platonic. And so your mental breakthroughs could relate directly to the dynamics of these connections. You might be in a long-term relationship, for example, and suddenly see your partner in a completely new light, leading to a conversation that revitalizes that connection. Or you could also have a breakthrough about a negotiation strategy within business, realizing an entirely new way to approach an old conflict. Or you might also realize a specific pattern of communication causes conflict in your relationships and experiment with a completely new approach. And so a powerful practice here is active listening. So focus entirely on what your partner or other person is saying without planning your response, but also take time to clarify your relationship expectations for yourself. Write down what you truly want and need to revolutionize how you engage with others. If your natal Mercury is in the 8th house, your breakthroughs are happening in the deeper, more hidden areas of your life, whether it's shared resources, intimacy, and deep psychological patterns. These mental shifts can be intense. You could have a sudden transformative insight during therapy that unlocks a long-standing issue. Or let's say you're in a relationship, you could find yourself devising an unconventional plan for managing your joint debt or investments. Or you may have a sudden realization about intimacy that deepens your capacity for vulnerability. And a great way to work with this energy is to engage in deep self-reflection. Intensive journaling or therapy can provide necessary containers for these insights. It's also important, though, to have transparent financial conversations or about how you give away your energy. And so if you share resources, whether energetic or literal, use this time to talk openly about the goals and the fears when it comes to these areas of life. If you have natal Mercury in the 9th house, this transit is deeply focused on your worldview and your belief systems. Your mental breakthroughs will likely challenge your existing perspectives and expand your horizons. You might stumble upon a book or a podcast that completely revolutionizes your entire perspective on life. Or you could have a travel experience that completely shatters your previously held beliefs about another culture. You could even feel a strong urge to teach or mentor others based on new revolutionary insights that you've gained. And so a great way to engage this is to read something completely unconventional for you. Pick up a book on a topic that you know absolutely nothing about, and also plan a mind trip. The act of planning to go somewhere new, even a small getaway, can stimulate the mind and open you up to different ways of thinking. And this could help actually you brainstorm better ideas so that you know what to do in the next step of this transit. With natal Mercury in the 10th house, the mental revolution is happening front and center in your career or your public image or your long-term aspirations. And so your breakthroughs will concern your professional path and your reputation. You could have a sudden game-changing idea for a new career path and begin taking radical steps to make it happen. Or maybe if you're a business owner, for example, you might find yourself devising new and innovative marketing strategies that completely change your public image. You could also receive unexpected recognition for an unconventional idea that you proposed at work. And so a practical tip is to update your resume or your professional online profiles with a revolutionary edge, or even create like a vision board for what it is that you're trying to achieve, even if you don't make the steps yet. And so revise how you present your skills into the world. It's also wise to network with people outside of your usual industry, because exposing yourself to different professional perspectives can spark game-changing ideas that completely pivot your path in a way that is more authentic to you. So keep your mind open at this time. If you have natal Mercury in the 11th house, the focus is on your community, friendships, and your long-term aspirations. Your mental breakthroughs relate to your place in the collective and the innovative future you are trying to build. You could have a sudden realization that your current friend group no longer aligns with your evolving values and seek out a new community. Or maybe if you're an activist, you might find yourself coming up with an innovative, radical idea for organizing your group. Or you could suddenly see a clear, unconventional path towards a long-held dream or a humanitarian goal that previously seemed unattainable. And so a helpful tip is to join a new group or online community that challenges your thinking. Engaging with people who share a niche interest can expose you to new ideas, but it can also give you new perspectives that really help you to see the landscape of the world in a more complete way. But also mind map your future without limitation and brainstorm your hopes and dreams without any filters to see possibilities that you hadn't even considered. With natal Mercury in the 12th house, your breakthroughs are emerging from your subconscious mind and your spiritual life. These insights may feel like they come from nowhere, often arriving in dreams or moments of quiet contemplation. You could have a dream, for example, that provides a clear symbolic solution to a problem you've been wrestling with, or you may have a sudden deep insight that releases a long-held unconscious fear or self-sabotaging pattern. You could also become fascinated with the hidden aspects of spirituality or the mysteries of the universe. And so the most important tip here is to keep a detailed dream journal. Pay close attention to your dreams, as your subconscious mind may be delivering important messages that you need to be processing, but also be sure to schedule unstructured quiet time daily. Allow your mind to wander, because this creates the necessary space for those deep, unexpected insights to bubble up and come to your mind. And once you realize what you need to do with those insights, you can truly use them to change your life, but you have to be willing to listen to your inner voice. If your natal Venus is in Aries, then this transit may test your instinct for immediate action, pushing you to take bold, independent steps that align your life with your need for passion and vitality. In stage 2, which is the pressure test, the conflict may be felt as an intense urge to move forward. Your Venus in Aries values passion and initiation, so the slow, security-focused Taurus energy could feel restrictive to your new idea. Your values may shift from prioritizing future stability to demanding present moment vitality. You might feel a rebellion against anything that feels like a slow drain on your spirit, such as a savings plan that delays your dream or a stable relationship that lacks spirit. Your best trick is to channel this forward-moving energy into rapid prototyping. Build a quick, imperfect version of the venture to satisfy your need for action without risking everything, and just to see how it plays out. Because in stage 3, the liberating action, your move will likely be a direct action based on your own initiative that reclaims your creative and romantic sovereignty. You might take a decisive step, such as making a significant solo investment in your startup or leaving a stifling partnership to pursue your own path. This action will be swift, and so your tip is to declare your independence clearly when you act. Your power comes from the unapologetic nature of your decision, so state your new direction with confidence. In summary, this Uranus transit suggests a fiery trial of patience for you. It may force your independent values to contend with the slow process of real-world change. This could spark a rebellion against restriction, leading you to ultimately taking a forward action that liberates your creative and romantic life from anything that demands that you wait. With natal Venus and Taurus for you, this is a revolution of your core values, challenging you to release superficial comforts in favor of new, deeply nourishing and tangible foundations. In stage 2 of the transit, or the pressure test, the conflict may be deeply personal and physically felt. Your Venus and Taurus equates security with tangible reality, so the Uranian call to revolutionize your foundation can feel destabilizing. Your passion may shift from valuing static security to valuing authentic, embodied security, making you question if your current comforts are truly nourishing you. This could feel like a deep physical resistance to change. Your best trick is to upgrade your sensory environment. Focus on small upgrades that please your senses, like buying luxurious sheets, cooking with quality ingredients. If you're an artist, buy the expensive colored pencils. Take this with whatever applies to you, obviously, because this reassures your Venus that change leads to better pleasure, not deprivation. Because in stage 3 of the transit, the liberating action, your move is likely a deliberate, tangible change to your physical reality that commits you to a new foundation of value. This could look like selling your possessions that represent your old life, maybe making a slow and steady investment in a valuable new business or a hobby, whatever resonates, or committing to a relationship that provides deep, authentic security. Your action will likely be slow but irreversible because it will be steady. And your tip is to make your first action a tangible investment in quality. Purchase one high-quality tool or resource that will be the cornerstone of your new path. Because in summary, for you, this Uranus transit suggests a revolution of your core values, or your home turf in some way, or your sense of security. It may create a deep internal pressure to release any comfort that has become a gilded cage for you, pushing you to redefine stability. The journey could culminate in a deliberate, tangible action that establishes a new, more authentic, and deeply nourishing foundation for your life. With natal Venus in Gemini, this period may challenge your love of variety, pushing you to make a tangible commitment that honors your need for intellectual freedom and multiplicity. Let me explain what that means. Because in stage 2, the pressure test, the conflict may manifest as a mental restlessness and a fear of being bored or trapped by a single choice. Your Gemini Venus thrives on variety and curiosity, and the slow, singular Taurian energy could feel like a threat to your freedom. Your passion may shift from valuing endless options to valuing the most interesting and multifaceted option. You might rebel against any path that feels like a singular commitment, perhaps craving 2 new income streams instead of 1. That's a good example. And your best trick is to create a sample platter of your options, however this may look. Explore a few of your new ideas on a small scale because this satisfies your Venus's need for variety and helps you gather more data for stage 3. Because in stage 3, which is the liberating action, your move will likely involve communication and embracing multiplicity in your life. You may choose the path that offers the most intellectual freedom. This may look like launching a platform with multiple offerings, or defining a relationship in a more flexible way, or committing to a diverse financial plan. Take what resonates. And your tip is to announce your new value system on multiple platforms. And by platforms, I mean, you can go tell your loved one, go tell your family, post it on social media, look in the mirror, tell yourself, take what resonates, because sharing your decision with your network can validate your choice and energize your next steps. And in summary for you, this Uranus transit suggests a test of commitment in a world of infinite options. It may create a deep internal pressure to move beyond mere curiosity and choose a tangible path without sacrificing your need for stimulation. This journey could culminate a liberating action where you commit to a new multifaceted value system, proving that stability does not have to be boring. If your natal Venus is in Cancer, this transit may ask you to redefine your sense of security, culminating in a deeply intuitive action to protect what you love and build a foundation on true emotional safety. In stage 2, which is the pressure test, the conflict is likely to be deeply emotional and centered on your need for safety. Your Venus in Cancer values emotional security and familiar bonds or familiar passions. And so the Uranian call to revolutionize your security could feel a little bit threatening. Your passion may shift from valuing external safety like a predictable job to valuing internal emotional security, which is the feeling of being truly at home in your life no matter what you do. You might feel a rebellion against anything that feels emotionally inauthentic. And your best trick is to build a safe harbor for your new value. Create a private, cozy space in your home or at your workspace, whatever you work at or wherever you like to hang out, that is dedicated to this new venture. Nurturing the idea in a protected environment can help you feel safe enough to actually pursue it and let it grow. Because in stage 3, the liberating action, your move will likely be a deeply intuitive decision to build a new foundation of security. You're completely ripping the foundation up and building a new one. You will act to protect what you truly love in this process, though. This could look like leaving an emotionally draining job, to start a home-based business that nourishes your soul, or to pursue a job that actually follows your passions. Or maybe it looks like making a powerful financial commitment to create a more secure home or to create more secure savings. Or maybe it looks like finally pursuing relationships and friendships that actually make you feel good about yourself. Same with your passions. Take what resonates, because your tip is to take your action on behalf of someone or something that you love. Frame the decision not as a selfish risk, but as an act of protection for those you care about and yourself. This action aligns the revolutionary act with your Venus's core desire to nurture and take care. And so in summary for you, this Uranus transit suggests a journey of redefining safety. It may create a powerful internal pressure to release any external security that costs you your inner peace, pushing you to find a home within yourself. This journey could culminate in a deeply nurturing and protective action where you build a new tangible foundation that offers true soul deep comfort. With natal Venus in Leo, your journey may involve a revolution of creative expression in some way, pushing you past a need for external validation to proudly share your authentic passions with the world. In stage 2 of the transit or the pressure test, the conflict may be about the pride and the fear of your internal light being dimmed if you let it shine. Your Venus in Leo values recognition and heartfelt expression, and the internal uncertain work of this phase can feel deeply uncomfortable because it lacks an audience, and your passion may shift from valuing mere attention to valuing authentic self-expression. You could feel a rebellion against any part of your life where you have to perform for approval instead of being celebrated for who you truly are. You might feel this as a creative block or a deep frustration with your current life. And so your best trick is to create for an audience of one, and that person is yourself. Because during this private phase, create something beautiful or luxurious just for yourself. This reaffirms that your value is inherent and not dependent on applause, and it'll ensure that your craft or whatever you're pursuing is true to you. Because in stage 3, which is the liberating action, your move is likely to be a grand and creative debut. You find yourself stepping into the spotlight to publicly declare your new values. This may look like you launching a new passion-driven brand with a bold aesthetic, making a grand romantic gesture, or maybe even taking a creative risk in your career that gets you noticed. The action will likely be designed to be seen in some way, whether it's by one person or a million. Your tip is to plan a launch event, even if it's like in your head, or even if it's super small, turning your liberating action into a performance or an official debut that honors your Venus's need for recognition and infuses your new path with joyful, radiant energy. And even if you don't have the spotlight being put on you by others, you can put it on yourself. And in summary for you, this Uranus transit suggests a revolution of the heart's true expression. It may create a deep internal pressure to move beyond just the need for validation and to value your own authentic voice. This journey could culminate in a radiant, liberating action where you proudly and publicly share your passion, demonstrating that true worth comes from shining your own unique light. With natal Venus in Virgo, this period may challenge your need for a perfect outcome, guiding you to find deep value in a practical, well-crafted process that brings tangible improvements into your life. In stage 2, the pressure test, the conflict may manifest as analysis paralysis and a fear of imperfection. Your Venus in Virgo finds value in precision and usefulness. The revolutionary idea that you gained from stage 1 can feel a little bit messy and practical and not yet refined enough to act upon, and your passion may shift from valuing a perfect plan to valuing meaningful processes. You might feel a rebellion against work that is flawless but empty, craving a path that allows for devotion and tangible improvements. This pressure could be felt as an obsessive need to fix the idea before you start. Your best trick is to focus on creating a beautiful and efficient system. Find pleasure in designing the perfect spreadsheet or refining the daily routine that will support your new venture. This satisfies your Venus's needs for order and service because in stage 3 or the liberating action, your move is likely to be quiet, practical, and highly effective in whatever you do. You might simply implement a new and improved system into your life. This could look like you launching a refined, useful service that solves a real-world problem. It might be you committing to a new daily health and beauty regimen that makes you feel pure and whole, or maybe it looks like making a carefully planned investment in whatever venture you pursue. This action, whatever it is, will be useful and well crafted, and so your tip is to offer your help as your first action. Use your new skill to be of service to one person. Making your new value tangibly useful for someone else will provide all of the validation you need. And so in summary for you, this Uranus transit suggests a journey of finding the beautiful and meaningful work. It may create an internal pressure to release the need for perfection and instead embrace the value of a devoted, useful process. The journey could culminate in a practical, tangible action where you implement a new system that brings order, health, and service into your daily life. With natal Venus in Libra, for you, this is a revolution in relationships or how you establish beauty and harmony, pushing you to redefine fairness and take graceful action to create a more authentic balance in your life. Because in stage 2, the pressure test, the conflict may be a crisis of decision and a fear of creating disharmony. Your Venus in Libra values partnerships and balance. The Uranian call for a unilateral revolution could feel jarring and potentially unfair to others. Your passion may shift from valuing peace at any cost to valuing true, authentic harmony, even if it rubs people the wrong way at first. You may feel a rebellion against any compromise that is actually a form of self-abandonment. This pressure can be felt as a deep internal debate, feeling paralyzed by the need to make the right choice for everyone. Your best trick at this time is to create a pro and con list focused on the harmony of whatever you're doing. Ask yourself which path creates more beauty in your life, which one creates a more balanced version of myself, or what creates balanced results where the most people win. And this reframes the decision in your Venus's native language, which can help a lot. Because in stage 3, the liberating action, your move is likely to be a diplomatic but firm decision that creates a new, more authentic sense of balance. You will likely act to restore justice in your own value system. This could look like you gracefully exiting an imbalanced partnership or investing in art to bring more beauty into your life, or proposing a new, more equitable relational contract in whatever it is you do, whether it's at work, at home, you name it. And the action will be fair and considered. And so your tip is to frame your action as a relationship upgrade or as a call to balance. Explain your decision as a move designed to create a healthier, more balanced dynamic for everyone in the long run. And so in summary for you, this Uranus transit suggests a revolution in your understanding of harmony and may create a powerful internal pressure to stop prioritizing external peace over your own internal balance, pushing you to redefine fairness. The journey could culminate in a graceful action that realigns your life, love, or resources, establishing a new, more beautiful and authentic, just sense of equilibrium. With natal Venus in Scorpio, this transit suggests a deep transformative test of your values, pushing you to purge all that is inauthentic and reclaim your power by committing to what is true to you. In stage 2, or the pressure test, the conflict may be intense, private, and focused on trust. Your Venus in Scorpio values deep soul bonding connections and is wary of superficiality. The revolutionary ideas you got from stage 1 will likely be tested for their absolute truth. Your passion may shift from valuing control to valuing true empowerment and authenticity in whatever it is you do. You might feel rebellion against any financial or relational entanglements where you feel powerless or where your trust has been broken. You may feel this as a deep suspicion or an all or nothing battle between your old security and whatever you're trying to establish, your new all-consuming passion. And so your best trick is to do a deep dive investigation on whatever you're pursuing. Instead of stewing in suspicion, channel your Venus intensity into research. Gaining power through knowledge will ease your fear in whatever it is you want to pursue. Because in stage 3, the liberating action, your move will likely be powerful, strategic, and transformative. You may find yourself cutting away what is rotten to allow for rebirth. This could look like pulling your shared assets from a partnership that's no longer trustworthy. It could also look like putting all of your energy into one passion or path or career or hobby, whatever it is that you actually deem worthy. Or it could look like committing with soul, trust, intensity into a relationship that has proven its depth to you. The action will be decisive, whatever it is, and your tip is to make your move in private. Your power does not come from a public announcement. The most potent action is the one that no one sees coming. The change in your energetic state will be the announcement that you truly need to make this thing happen. And so in summary for you, this Uranus transit suggests a deep psychological alchemy of your values. It may create an intense internal pressure to purge all superficiality from your life, testing every bond and asset and energy that's in your life for its true worth. The journey could culminate in a powerful transformative action where you cut away what is inauthentic to reclaim your power and commit with your whole soul to what is real and true to you. With natal Venus in Sagittarius, your journey may involve grounding your adventurous spirit, challenging you to take a leap of faith that invests your resources into a tangible path that reflects your highest beliefs. In stage 2, the pressure test, the conflict may manifest as a powerful feeling of being trapped or philosophically misaligned with something in some way. Your Venus in Sagittarius values freedom, growth, and expansive beliefs. But the Taurian energy of this phase could feel like a cage. Your passion may shift from valuing limitless possibilities to valuing the one belief worth building a life around. You might feel a rebellion against any plan or relationship that doesn't offer a sense of growth, meaning, and adventure. You could feel this as an intense wanderlust or a deep boredom with your stable life. And so your best trick is to turn your new values into a philosophy. Write down the why behind your new passions. What is the biggest belief that this new path you are trying to pursue represents? Connecting your idea to a grander meaning can help you tolerate the slow grounding phase. And in stage 3, which is the liberating action, your move will likely be a bold leap of faith towards a new horizon. You may take a risk that expands your world. This could look like you investing a significant sum of money into a course of study or a trip abroad that aligns with your new passion. It might be you committing to a long-distance relationship or launching a business based on your beliefs. Take what resonates because the action will be optimistic, and your tip is to make your first action an investment in learning. Buy that plane ticket, enroll in university courses that you need to enroll in, or purchase that book that will be your guide. This honors your Venus's love for wisdom. And in summary, for you, this Uranus transit suggests a journey of grounding your expansive spirit. It may create a deep internal pressure to move beyond a love of abstract freedom and commit to a tangible path that embodies your highest beliefs. This journey could culminate in an optimistic and liberating leap of faith where you invest your resources in an adventure, a belief, or an education that promises a more meaningful future, and this can be taken to pursue the life of your dreams. With natal Venus in Capricorn, this transit may revolutionize your definition of success, pressuring you to align your ambition with your authentic values and to build something out of true integrity. In stage 2, which is the pressure test, the conflict may be a struggle between your new passion and your sense of duty and practicality. And so your Venus in Capricorn values things that are timeless, well-crafted, and provide long-term security. The revolutionary idea from stage 1 will likely be heavily scrutinized for its long-term viability. Your passion may shift from valuing traditional success to valuing enduring, authentic legacies. You might feel a rebellion against any commitment that is prestigious but personally meaningless. This pressure can be felt as a deep fear of losing status or failing, or a sense of guilt for wanting something that is not productive, at least in your mind's eye, but you know it's going to work out deep down. And so your best trick is to create a long-term business plan for your passion, or to create a long-term plan for executing whatever it is you're trying to do. Treat your new authentic value as a serious project that you're going to invest your time in, because this will satisfy your Venus's need for structure in whatever you pursue. Because in stage 3, the liberating action, your move will likely be a masterful, strategic, and well-planned commitment. You may make a choice that is both authentic to your heart and built to last. This will look like you formally registering a high quality business that you're passionate about. It could look like you making a serious long-term commitment to a partner who shares your values, or making a significant conservative investment in a company that aligns with your ethics. This action, whatever it is, will be respectable. And so your tip is to seek the advice of someone who knows more than you, or an expert, because before you act, consulting with someone who has wisdom and experience will help you truly be guided to making the best decision. And so in summary for you, this Uranus transit suggests a revolution of your definition of success. It may create a powerful internal pressure to align your ambitions with your authentic values, pushing you to build something off of integrity, not just safety or security or status. And this journey could culminate in a mature, strategic, and tangible commitment to a path, person, or investment that is worthy of your respect and built to stand the test of time. For natal Venus and Aquarius, this is a journey of manifesting your futuristic ideals, pushing you to commit to an unconventional value system that is grounded in the real world. Both can exist. In stage 2, the pressure test, the conflict may be between your radical intellectual ideals and the messy personal nature of those values. Your Venus and Aquarius values intellectual connection, collective ideals, and unconventional freedom. But the earthy, possessive nature of Taurus's energy can feel strange and illogical. Your passion may shift from valuing freedom from commitment to valuing commitment to a future ideal. You might feel a rebellion against any value system or relationship that feels too conventional or possessive or emotionally illogical. You may feel a cold attachment from your own security needs as well. And so the best trick is to create a manifesto for your new value system, especially in regards to whatever it is you're trying to build. Write down the principles for your new passion and what that represents. Framing your values as a logical system will help you connect them with your own intellectual terms. Because in stage 3, or the liberating action, your move is likely to be an unconventional and innovative move. You may make a choice that liberates you from traditional expectations of love or money or beauty or your passions. This could look like you investing in a tech startup or a humanitarian cause. It might look like you committing to a friendship-based partnership or a non-traditional relationship structure, maybe like a polyamory. Take what resonates with that, or maybe like queerness. Or it could be as simple as sleeping in a different bedroom from your partner. Even some people consider that a little bit, unorthodox. But whatever it is, the action will be intellectually driven and future forward. And so your tip is to use technology in any way to make your action official. Announce your new venture through a new website, or start a group for like-minded people, make a post on social media, or just message a friend even. Using a technological medium reinforces the innovative nature of your new values. And so in summary for you, this Uranus transit will suggest a journey of grounding your futuristic ideals into your reality. It may create an internal pressure to bring your brilliant unconventional ideas and values out of the realm of theory and into the tangible world of how you execute things in your world. This journey could culminate in a liberating and innovative action where you commit to a person, investment, or a structure that reflects your unique forward-thinking vision for the future. With natal Venus and Pisces, this period may ask you to bring your dreams down to earth, culminating in an act of faith that invests your resources into making your compassionate vision a tangible reality. In stage 2, or the pressure test, the conflict may be between your boundless romantic vision and the harsh practical demands of the real world. Your Venus and Pisces values unconditional love or creative surrender or spiritual connection. Take what resonates. But the Taurian focus on tangible assets and secure boundaries can feel a little bit limiting. Your passion may shift from valuing escapism to valuing enchanted reality. You might feel a rebellion against anything in your life that feels mundane and spiritually empty. This pressure can be felt as a deep desire to dissolve your financial boundaries or feeling like a martyr to your beautiful ideal without a practical plan. Take what resonates. And so your best trick is to create a secret altar for your new vision. Build a physical space with images and art that represent the dream you are trying to build. This helps you to keep the magical vision alive while you navigate mundane pressures and figure out how to actually do it. Because in stage 3, or the liberating action, your move will likely be an act of creative faith and compassionate surrender. You could make a choice that aligns your life with a more magical value system. This could look like investing your savings into an art project that feels divinely inspired. Or it might look like forgiving a deep financial or emotional debt that you have. Or it could be you committing to a relationship based on a spiritual bond, regardless of practical considerations like distance or culture. Take what resonates. And this action will be guided by faith. Your tip is to pair your action of faith with one small grounding gesture. When you invest in your art project, for example, also open a simple savings account, because this honors both your dream and the reality you must live in. Take what resonates with whatever dream you have. Because in summary, this Uranus transit suggests a revolution of bringing your dreams to earth. It may create a deep internal pressure to find a way to manifest your boundless compassion and creativity into the real world without sacrificing their magic. This journey could culminate in a beautiful act of faith where you invest your heart and resources into a project or person that brings more enchantment, art, and unconditional love into a physical form that you can experience constantly in your life. It brings your dreams into reality potentially. If you have natal Venus in the first house, with Venus here, this transit may spark a revolution in your personal identity, pushing you to align your outward appearance with a new, more authentic sense of self-worth. In stage 2 of the transit, or the pressure test, this conflict could feel deeply personal, revolving around your sense of self-worth. You might feel a rebellion against any way you have presented yourself that feels inauthentic to your new values, creating pressure to align your outer self with your inner worth. You may start to value a more authentic form of beauty. Your trick is to experiment with any personal changes in private first. So if you're trying a new style or trying to adopt a new way of being, try it at home first to discover what makes you feel truly valuable and beautiful in the now without the pressure of public opinion. Because in stage 3, or the liberating action, your move is likely to be a tangible and visible change to your personal identity in some way. You may find yourself investing in yourself in a powerful way. This could look like you debuting a radical new personal style, or rebranding your public image, or launching a venture where your charm and aesthetic are central to the brand. You are liberating your authentic beauty, and your tip is to invest in one high quality item that represents this new version of yourself, like a piece of clothing or a new website design. Take what resonates. And so in summary, this Uranus transit suggests a revolution of self-love and personal aesthetics. This pressure may build to shed any outdated identity and to stop seeking validation from others. The journey could culminate in a liberating investment in yourself where you're tangibly and visibly aligned to your appearance and personal brand with your new, more authentic and self-possessed sense of value. With natal Venus in the second, this transit may bring a fundamental revolution to your finances and possessions or sense of self-worth, challenging you to build a material foundation based on what you authentically value and enjoy. In stage 2 of the transit, this conflict is likely a direct and powerful revolution in this area. Your brilliant idea from stage 1 or ideas could put immense pressure on your existing assets and income in some way. You might feel a rebellion against your old financial habits and start to value things that provide a deeper, more sensual, and authentic sense of security. The pressure is to build a material world that truly nourishes you, and your trick is to perform a joy audit of your possessions. Go through your things and ask, does this thing bring me real tangible pleasure? This begins the process of aligning your material world with your true values, because in stage 3 of the transit, your move is likely to be a significant financial decision that solidifies your new value system or a decision with your materials in general. You could put your money where your heart is, in other words. This could look like you selling off old assets that represent your old life to fund a new one, or launching a business that creates beautiful or valuable things to you, or making a major purchase that brings you a deep sense of security and pleasure. You are liberating your resources, and your tip is to open a new bank account or a new collection in your house and dedicate these to your new values. You can name it your art fund or your art collection or your future home or your desired little safe corner, whatever you want to name it. And making the first deposit to this collection or this account is a powerful, tangible act of commitment, because in summary for you, this Uranus transit suggests a fundamental revolution of your resources and self-worth. It may create an intense pressure to purify your financial life, forcing you to release any asset or income stream that does not align with your authentic pleasure. The journey could culminate in a powerful, liberating financial action that builds a new foundation of security based on what your soul, not society, truly values. With natal Venus in the 3rd house, this transit suggests a revolution in your daily mindset, pushing you to use your words and ideas to bring more beauty and harmony into your immediate world. Because in stage 2 of the transit, the conflict may play out in your thoughts and conversations. You might feel a rebellion against superficial conversations and negative thought patterns. You may start to value words of affirmation, beautiful ideas, and a more harmonious relationship with the people you're close to. And the pressure is to make your immediate world feel a little bit more beautiful. Your trick is to curate your daily information diet in some way. So unfollow social media accounts that make you feel bad and follow artists or poets and designers or pages that truly uplift you in some way. And you can actively choose to fill your mind with beauty by doing this, because in stage 3 of the transit, your move will likely be an act of communication or connection that beautifies your world in some way. You may speak your new values into existence. This could look like launching a blog or a social media account focused on a topic you find beautiful. It might be you having a loving, healing conversation with someone you're close to, or investing in making your local community a little more pleasant. You are liberating your voice at this time, and so your tip is to write a letter of appreciation in some way, whether to yourself or another person or an idea. And this act of putting your values of love and beauty into words and sharing them is a powerful first step for you. And so in summary, this Uranus transit suggests a revolution of your daily mindset and your speech. It may create an internal pressure to stop tolerating ugly thoughts and superficial communications, pushing you to value the power of grace and loving words. This journey could culminate in a liberating act of communication where you use your voice or writing to bring more beauty and harmony into your immediate environment. With natal Venus in the 4th house, this transit may focus on your home and private life, creating pressure to redefine your emotional foundations and invest in a sanctuary that offers true security and peace. Because in stage 2 of the transit, the conflict may occur within your sanctuary. You might feel a rebellion against any aspect of your domestic life that feels emotionally insecure or inharmonious in some way. You may begin to value a home that is a true sanctuary and family relationships that are based on actual authentic love. And so the pressure is to create a beautiful and secure emotional foundation. And your trick is to find one corner of your home and make it perfectly beautiful and serene for you. Because this small act of creating a sanctuary gives your safe harbor a place to establish and you a place to retreat while you navigate the bigger pressures. Because in stage 3 of the transit, your move is likely to be a tangible change to your home or your family life in some way. You will invest in your foundational security and happiness. This could look like you redecorating your home to align with your aesthetic. You could be making a financial investment in real estate, or maybe you have a powerful conversation that creates a more loving dynamic within your family, or maybe you have a conversation with yourself that helps you let go of old habits because you are liberating your roots. Your tip is to purchase one beautiful lasting item for your home. It can be a piece of art or quality furniture that can ground your new sense of security and value in your most private space. And so in summary for you, this Uranus transit suggests a revolution of your emotional foundation. It may create a deep internal pressure to release any family pattern or domestic situation that undermines your security and peace, pushing you to redefine what home truly means. The journey could culminate in a powerful, liberating investment in your private sanctuary, establishing a new foundation of beauty, love, and authentic safety. With natal Venus in the 5th, your revolution may be one of creative courage, pushing you to stop seeking approval and finally invest your energy into romance or art and joy that makes you truly feel alive. In stage 2 of the transit, the conflict may revolve around your joy and self-expression in some way. You might feel a powerful rebellion against anything that stifles your authentic passions. You may begin to value creative risks or passionate romance or unapologetic pleasure in some way. And so the pressure is to stop performing for others and start creating from your own heart. This could feel like a deep creative block if your current life does not support your true passions. And so your trick is to schedule a secret artist date for yourself. And so take yourself out to do something purely for fun and inspiration without telling anybody, because this is about secretly feeding your creative soul and doing something that truly feeds that instead of trying to appease the other people in your life. Because in stage 3 of the transit, your move will likely be a bold, creative, or romantic debut in some way. You will put your heart on the line. This could look like you finally launching the passion project you've been dreaming of, but it also might be you making a grand romantic gesture to someone that you love, or it could also be making a financial and time commitment to a hobby that brings you true joy. You are liberating your heart, and so your tip is to share your creative work or your feelings with just one person first. This soft launching of your heart's expression is a powerful first step that bridges the gap between private passion and public declaration. In summary for you, this Uranus transit suggests a revolution of your creative heart. It may create an intense internal pressure to stop seeking approval and to start valuing your own innate joy and authentic passions. The journey could culminate in a liberating action of creative courage where you finally invest your time and resources into something that truly brings you joy. With natal Venus in the 6th house, this transit may revolutionize your daily life, challenging you to improve your routines and environment so that your work and wellness become acts of pleasure and art in some way. And so in stage 2 of the transit, this conflict might be felt through your habits in some way. You could feel a rebellion against the mundane work, which lacks beauty and meaning to you, or health routines that actually feel like a chore more than, self-love. You may begin to value a daily life that is not only efficient, but also pleasant and harmonious in some way. The pressure is to find the sacred in the mundane. You might feel this as a deep dissatisfaction within your job or a burnout from your wellness routine. And so your trick is to beautify one small part of your daily routine. Drink water from a really nice looking glass, for example, or buy a plant or a decoration for your desk, or listen to music you find beautiful while working, because this injects pleasure into your daily grind. Because in stage 3 of the transit, your move will likely be to tangibly upgrade your daily reality in some way. You may commit to a more beautiful and harmonious way of living and working. This could look like quitting a job that you hate for one that you love, even if it pays less. Or it could be you investing in a new wellness or beauty regimen that feels like a sacred ritual. Or it could also look like redesigning your workspace to be more of an inspiring environment for you, because you are liberating your daily life. And so your tip is to invest in one tool that makes your daily work more pleasant. This could be a comfortable chair or a planner or better software to complete your work. And so in summary for you, this Uranus transit suggests a revolution of your daily life. It may create a powerful internal pressure to infuse your work, health, and habits with beauty, pleasure, and meaning. This journey could culminate in a liberating action where you tangibly improve your daily routines and your environment, proving that a well-lived life is a work of art crafted by one beautiful person, one beautiful day at a time. With natal Venus in the 7th, for you, the focus may be on your key partnerships or your idea of partnerships, creating pressure to redefine your one-on-one connections to reflect a new, more authentic standard of balance and fairness. In stage 2 of the transit, this conflict may play out in your one-on-one relationships in some way. You may feel a rebellion against any partnerships that feels imbalanced, unfair, or lacks harmony. You may begin to value true partnership, one where both parties are seen, heard, and valued equally. The pressure is to bring beauty and justice to your contracts with others, whether it's a soft contract or a legit contract. You could feel this as a growing dissatisfaction with a friend or a partner or a co-worker's behavior. And so your trick is to privately write out your relationship bill of rights of sorts. And what this means is to get clear on what you need to feel valued and respected in a partnership before having a conversation. And if someone isn't meeting that, it means to firmly and gently bring it up in a way that really, considers the other person's opinions, but also your own. And so in stage 3 of the action, your move will likely be to redefine this key relationship or your idea of relationships within your life. You may act to create a more beautiful and balanced partnership or dynamic in some way. This could look like you proposing a new agreement with a business partner, or maybe you finally get engaged or married under a new, more conscious contract, or it could be you gracefully exiting relationships that no longer meet your standard of new values. You are liberating yourself and your partnerships. Your tip is to propose a beautiful shared experience as a way to open the conversation, no matter what that is. Suggesting a trip, for example, to an art museum or a nice dinner creates a harmonious environment to discuss how you're going to upgrade your relationship dynamics. This could also look like maybe looking for love or looking for partnership in places that you truly value instead of doing something inauthentic to you. Like maybe you don't like Tinder and it's time to ditch it. And so in summary for you, this Uranus transit suggests a revolution of your significant partnerships and may create a deep internal pressure to bring true balance, fairness, and authentic harmony into your one-on-one connections. This journey could culminate in a liberating action where you consciously redefine a key contract in your life, choosing to commit more deeply to what is fair and to release what is not. With natal Venus in the 8th, this transit may bring a revolution to your shared resources or your intimate bonds or your fear or your idea of, the things that you cannot control, pushing you to purge toxic entanglements and reclaim your financial or emotional power. Because in stage 2 of the transit, the conflict is likely to be intense and private in some way. You might feel a rebellion against any financial or emotional entanglements where you feel powerless, manipulated, or where your trust is not absolute. You may begin to value deep, authentic intimacy and financial transparency. The pressure is to purge any relationship that is built on a toxic foundation. This could also be with yourself, by the way. You could feel this as a deep psychological discomfort with your current level of vulnerability. And so your trick is to review all your shared accounts and contracts and how you give away your energy by yourself. Because gaining clarity and power through your own private investigation will arm you with the confidence you need for the next step. Because in stage 3 of the transit, your move will likely be a powerful and transformative act of release and reclaiming your power. You may cut ties to liberate your own power and resources. This could look like you pulling your money out of a joint investment or paying off a transformative debt, or choosing to be truly vulnerable with somebody who has earned your deepest trust, because you are liberating your soul's resources. And your tip is to make the first move silently, whether it's transferring funds or making the decision to leave a powerful or toxic dynamic. The most powerful first step is one where you take for yourself and the one that you do in private, because the external conversations can come second to this. And so in summary for you, this transit suggests a revolution of intimacy and shared power. It may create an intense internal pressure to purge all toxic or superficial entanglements from your life, forcing you to confront deep truths about trust. The journey could culminate in a powerful, liberating action where you reclaim your financial and emotional sovereignty, choosing to invest your soul only where it is truly safe and valued. With natal Venus in the ninth, your values revolution may be philosophical, challenging you to break free from limiting beliefs and invest your resources in experiences that permanently broaden your horizons. And so in stage 2 of the transit, the conflict may be philosophical. You might feel a rebellion against any values or beauty standards that feel narrow-minded or limiting. You may begin to value experiences that expand your horizons, relationships with people from different backgrounds, and life philosophy that is beautiful and meaningful to you. The pressure is to align your love life and your finances with your highest beliefs in some way. You could feel this as a deep boredom with your current life and a craving for adventure. And so your trick is to plan your dream trip. Research and plan a journey to a place that embodies your new values, even if you don't book it yet. And this gives your spirit a sense of expansion that it truly craves, because in stage 3 of the transit, your move will likely be a bold leap of faith that expands your world. You will invest in your beliefs. This could look like you launching a business that has strong ethical or philosophical mission to you, or it might be you committing to a relationship that expands your cultural understanding, or investing your money in education or travel instead of material possessions. You are liberating your beliefs. Your tip is to buy a book or to enroll in a course that truly resonates with your new passions. And your first tangible action should be an investment in knowledge that supports your new expansive worldview. And so in summary for you, this Uranus transit suggests a revolution of what you believe is beautiful and worthwhile. It may create a powerful internal pressure to break free from any outdated values, pushing you to find love, beauty, and wealth in what is foreign, expansive, and truly meaningful for you. This journey could culminate in a liberating leap of faith where you invest your resources in an experience or education that broadens your horizons permanently. With natal Venus in the 10th, this transit may focus on your career, creating pressure to align your public reputation with your private passions and build a legacy that is truly authentically you. Because in stage 2, the transit, the conflict may manifest within your profession or your job situation in some way. You might feel a powerful rebellion against any professional role that feels uncreative or compromises your values in some way. You may begin to value a career that is not only successful, but also beautiful and a true expression of what you love. And this might seem scary to you at first because, we're in a bad economy, but this might bring deep fulfillment to you just from taking the leap, but don't take that leap yet, because the pressure is to align your public image with your private heart. You could feel this as a deep dissatisfaction with your job, even if it looks impressive on paper. And so your trick is to start a secret rebrand of sorts. Privately, start creating the visuals and mission statement for the career you wish you had, because this gives your desire a creative outlet, and that will be super healthy for you at this time, because in stage 3 of the transit, your move will likely be a tangible and public change to your career or your path that aligns with your new values. You could rebrand your professional life. This could look like launching your own business with a strong vision that truly resonates with you. It might be you pitching a new role for yourself within your current company that allows for more creativity. Or it could be you leaving a prestigious field for one that brings you more personal joy. You are liberating your legacy. And so the tip is to update your public profile first in some way. Maybe change your title or your bio on your social media as well to reflect your new values, even if it's still aspirational and super far out of reach. Just do it, because this signals your intention to the world. And so in summary for you, this Uranus transit suggests a revolution of your public image and professional values. It may create a deep internal pressure to stop chasing conventional success and instead build a career that is a true reflection of your authentic heart and your sense of value. This journey could culminate in a liberating public action that rebrands your professional life to be in beautiful, harmonious alignment with your soul's true calling. With natal Venus in the 11th house, your revolution may be social, pushing you to find your true tribe by investing in friendships and communities that share your most authentic vision for the future. In stage 2 of this transit, the conflict may be felt within your social networks. You might feel a rebellion against any social connection that feels superficial, transactional, or out of alignment with your future ideals. You may begin to value friendships based on shared hopes and unconventional ideas. The pressure is to find your true tribe. You could feel this as a sense of alienation from your current friends or groups in some way, or a deep craving for more intellectually stimulating conversations. And so your trick is to write down the values of your ideal friends or your community or your hopes and dreams. What are the top 3 principles that your true tribe would live by? This clarifies what you are looking for and really puts that intention out there, because in stage 3 of the transit, your move will likely be to invest in or create your ideal community in some way. You will act to align your social life with your future vision. This could look like you joining a new group of like-minded innovators. It could be you launching a collaborative project with friends who share your vision, or it could be you financially backing a humanitarian or futuristic cause that you believe in. You are liberating your friendships and your dreams and goals for society in some way. And so your tip is to be the one who organizes that first meeting. Don't wait for the community to appear. You can build it. And your liberating act is to create the container, whether it's a group chat or a local meetup, for your new tribe to gather. Because trust me, with this placement, so many people will back whatever cause is true to you. And so in summary, this Uranus transit suggests a revolution of your social values and alliances. It may create an internal pressure to release friendships of convenience and seek out your true like-minded peers who share your vision for the future. The journey could culminate in a liberating action where you tangibly invest in or create a new community, solidifying your place amongst a tribe that loves and supports your most unconventional ideals. With natal Venus in the 12th, this transit suggests a subtle revolution of your spiritual values, pushing you to tangibly invest in the intangible through acts of compassion or art or faith. In stage 2 of the transit, this conflict may be a subtle and internal one. You might feel a rebellion against any purely materialistic value systems and crave deep meaning for a more enchanted and compassionate life. You may begin to value a spiritual connection or creative surrender and unconditional love over the tangible world or tangible assets. The pressure is to dissolve the boundaries between your inner spiritual life and your outer reality in some way. You could feel this as a divine discontent with the mundane world. You just might feel bored with it or disconnected with it in some way. And so your trick is to engage in secret acts of beauty in some way, whether it's anonymously donating to a cause or creating a piece of art that you would never show anybody but that resonates with you, or by simply spending time in nature and truly connecting with it, because this nourishes your soul's need for selfless beauty. Because in stage 3 of the transit, your move will likely be an act of creative faith and compassionate surrender. You may begin to actually invest in that intangible area of your life. This could look like you finally committing your time and resources to an artistic project that feels divinely inspired. It may be you forgiving a significant financial or emotional debt in some way, releasing both yourself and like your other person or the other obligation, such as credit card debt, for example. Or it could be you committing to a relationship based on deep spiritual bonds that truly defies logic, or it could be you committing to yourself because you are liberating your soul's values. And your tip is to make a donation to a cause that deeply moves you. This tangible act of selfless giving is a powerful way to ground your new compassionate value system into the real world in some way. And so in summary for you, this Uranus transit suggests a revolution of your spiritual and compassionate values. It may create a subtle but deep internal pressure to release attachment to worldly gains and embrace a more meaningful, enchanted, and selfless way of life. The journey could culminate in a liberating act of faith where you tangibly invest your love, time, or resources into a cause or a piece of art or an act of compassion that brings more spiritual beauty into the world and therefore into your life.